Yeah. Holy diver, I'm a survivor. Feeling like an heroin taxi driver. With a big flavor and all these cartel. Feels like I'm walking through a living hell. Just walk that out and I'll get lifted. Feeling the inside on what I'm splitting. Cause I'm gifted. I read Sun Tzu. I got a gun too, so you'll never come to. The weight of the world riding on my shoulders. Cause I'm a soldier. I thought I told you. You're just another victim. You're just another victim, kid. You're just another victim. You're just another victim, kid. Kid. Just another victim. Kid. Just another victim. Kid. Just another victim.
What's happening, boys and girls around the world? Just another victim, kid. Holy diver, I'm a survivor. Just like Drew Stone in Taxi Driver. Good to see everybody. All right? All right? There you go. You know what I'm saying? Yo, you like my new intro? Ramping up my game. Got to ramp up my game here, you know? Hey, Susan, how you doing? Hope you're well, hon. What's going on out there? What's up, John? What it is. Andrea Katz, what's happening? Yeah, I'm pumped too, Paul. This is going to be a great show. We got a great guest. We got Zum coming on the show to talk gear because our guest is a Fryette guy. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records, and Skateboards, your core hardcore fan page. And for today's show, Fryette Amplification. There you go. So super stoked on that. Yeah. What's happening? What's happening in Belfast, Northern Ireland, Chris? Right on, brother. Okay, what's up in France, Matt? There you go. Scotland. Olivia in Scotland. Wow. All right. Here we go. What's happening in upstate New York, Rick? Hey, that said, I want to remind you of a couple of shows. Next up on this Wednesday, we have musician, actor London May. Should be cool. Also, the London, if you have Amazon Prime, London has a short film on there called Brutal Reality Inc. It's like a tongue-in-cheek, gore film. It's interesting. It's pretty funny. It runs like 15 minutes. So London's coming up on Wednesday. Everybody got to check that out. Let me get that off. And then after London, we have episode 71, what is episode 7? What is episode 71? Oh, there you go. It's Jessica. And then a week from today is Jessica from Orange is the New Black and from Brujeria. So the girls will have their say, getting some goyles in the mix. You know, girls rule. Hey, Jesus. All right. Old High and the Mighty Roadie, Jesus from the Bronx. Wow. They're coming out of the woodwork for this one. That's cool. Right on. Good to see you, Jesus. Jessica coming up a week from today. She's going to be on. She's in Switzerland now. So, oh, wow. Mario in Serbia. Come on now. That's cool. Boy, how blessed am I that people from around the world watch this kooky ass show, huh? How awesome is that? Like I said, we're gonna keep it moving and schmoving today. We got a lot to do. It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, your core hardcore fan page, and Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards. Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards located in Lakewood, Colorado, is the Rocky Mountain headquarters for all things punk, hardcore, and metal, established in 2014. They have the largest selection of CDs, shirts, stickers, patches, and accessories between Chicago and LA. From the pit to the ditch, they got your back. Get in touch with them at chainreactionrecords.com. Also, while we are at it, Your Core Hardcore fan page is a digital platform aimed at capturing hardcore punk bands in real time, as opposed to unreal time, and get up-to-date information on what they're doing now. Also, the page is focused on promoting and supporting bands, venues, merchandise through the Instagram app and on Your Core fan page. That said, let's bring on Steven Messina. Let's see what is happening.
What's up,
bro? What's up? What is going on, bro?
Love that new intro.
My kid did it.
Another stone in the mix.
All that fucking money spent on college. Let that punk ass kid do something.
That's it. Get a job.
Good. Hey, listen. If all we get out of his college education is that intro, then it's worth it.
That's it. Money well spent.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So here we go. Let's do photo of the day.
Photo of the day.
Now remember, everybody. We only want wrong answers to start with.
That's right.
We only want wrong answers.
Be creative.
So here you go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Hardcore Shutterbug, Steven Messina, photo of the day. Boom. All right, what do we got here? Well, I will say this. It looks like it's at the Roxy in Long Island. Would that be Frank Cariola's Roxy?
Yes.
You hear that, Andrea Katz? I know Andrea Katz frequented that place, All right, here we go. Is it the Cranberries? Is it Billy Idol?
Ouch.
Generation X? Is it Devo? Is it Kiss?
It is Kiss.
Okay. Life of Pleasure. I know. Life of Pleasure, right?
Is that the Car Bomb Parade?
Is it the Deftones? That's You know what? Honestly, not bad guesses.
No.
Yep.
Not bad at all.
Well, I mean, if you look at the bass drum, you can kind of figure it out, right?
Right. Also, in the top corner, you can see the logo as well.
Is it REO Speedwagon? What was the REO Speedwagon hit?
Keep on loving you.
I'm gonna keep on loving. God, I hate that shit. They're on my most hated, like Billy Joel, Styx, REO. Like, I'll never cut them any slack.
So we're not getting Billy Joel on the show then?
Fuck Billy Joel, bro. I fucking. Oh, is it Justin Bieber?
Wow.
Is it Menudo? Someone always says Menudo, no matter who it is that the photo is. All right, so let's go. Here we go. Life of Agony, right. Agony in the red. Life of Agony, LOA. Loa. And here's from a gal that works for this band, STP.
There she is. Yes.
STP. So it's Keith. So tell us a little bit about this.
All right. Well, as you picked up right at the beginning, this is the Roxy Music Hall, Frank Cariola's Roxy Music Hall, Huntington, Long Island. This show, I believe, was January 2nd, 1994. I believe they played there a lot, but if my memory serves correctly on this one, the opening acts were the Spud Monsters and Dog Eat Dog. It was either one, the other, or both, because I know they all opened for them at the Roxy. And of all the Roxy shows, I've seen them there a whole bunch of times. This show was absolutely my favorite time that they played the Roxy. They just destroyed the place, and they were just one of those bands that just everybody loved them. Like I just seemed like Long Island really loved Life of Agony, and And this was just an amazing, amazing show. It was the day after New Year's, and it was just packed. It was packed, and it was just phenomenal. Like I said, I think it was the Spud Monsters and Dog Eat Dog on that opening bill. But I had not. It's funny because I hadn't even scanned this picture in until yesterday. During the lockdown, I've been going into the 35 millimeter archive, randomly grabbing photo albums, scanning in photos that haven't seen the light of day in a while. So I just scanned this in yesterday. So this is
interestingly enough, before this, I was actually reaching out to Mina Caputo about coming on the show.
That would be amazing.
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
We'll see. I'm using my Michael Alago influence to get her on the show.
That would be. You know what? I mean, you just talk about someone who to this day, dynamic front person, and much like I would say much like Rob Halford from Judas Priest. Like when Rob Halford came out, like there was never.
What do you mean Rob Halford came out?
Oh my God. I don't know if you know this or not, but Rob Halford's gay.
What? Rob Halford's gay? No way, bro. No way.
Don't let those biker outfits fool you.
Dude, maybe does that mean Freddie Mercury was gay too?
You're just pushing it now.
And does that mean Billy Joel?
Hey, he was married to Christy Brinkley.
Who's the dude that sings for Ario? Kevin something.
Kevin Cronin?
I don't give a fuck. Fuck that dude.
Well, I was on a more serious note. Is what I was gonna say was that
I'm gonna keep on love, man. I just, honestly, I want to throw myself out the window. Jesus.
So Antidote NYHC won't be doing any Ario Speedwagon covers?
You know what? Someone just posted that was funny as fuck. Wait, I got about the Billy Joel when I was ranking on Billy Joel. Here. Billy Joel is punk rock. He gets drunk and drives his car to people's houses.
That's true.
Yo, Billy Joel's a Long Island guy like you, right?
He's the president of Long Island.
You know what? Fuck
He
that,
is to Long Island what Springsteen is to Jersey.
I'm sorry, bro.
You know what?
Billy ain't gay, just drunk as hell.
Well, what the point I was.
What T-shirt are you rocking? Fan request.
We got a little Death Wish coffee today.
Right? Whose is that? Whose coffee is that? Death Wish.
Death Wish is the brand.
Okay.
They are the absolute. Oh my God! It's like my favorite coffee. It's supposedly the strongest coffee you can get.
I never drank coffee in my life.
Really?
Never drank it.
That's it. I gotta get you on the Death Wish then.
I never drank coffee. I never smoked cigarettes.
And you don't like Billy Joel.
And I don't like that dude who sings for REO Speedwagon. You know what? Listen. You know what? Let's get him on the show.
Oh,
I think that's the move.
What if you get them both together?
I'll stuff Brillo down my throat.
And we'll get Dennis DeYoung in here. Come on now.
Okay, bro. All right. All right. Hey, that was great. Thank you, bro.
Oh, you're welcome. I'll see everybody in a little bit.
We'll talk to you in a bit. Okay. Yeah, man. It is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, and Your Core Hardcore fan page. The Texas Silver Rush is a jewelry design firm and boutique store located in the birthplace of Texas country music scene in Fredericksburg, Texas. They specialize in working with musicians in all music genres to design and create one-off pieces, as well as to style them for stage, album covers, promo photos, and social media exposure. Their client list includes Rock Hall of Famers Greg Rollet, Ringo Starr, and of course, Agnostic Front. During this current pandemic, because God knows there's going to be a whole bunch after this one, but during this one, all information and online sales are being taken on their Facebook and Instagram page, and of course, at www.texassilverrush.com. And while we're at it, New York Hardcore Comics opened back in 2013 when lifelong friends Debo DePro and Lee Fairley combined their collections and obsessions for comic books, punk rock, toys, statues, magic, the gathering, and all things horror. The store is located at 117 Main Street in lovely Dobbs Ferry, New York. If you want to support them during this pandemic, because God knows there's going to be a whole bunch of other ones, please contact them via email at newyorkhardcorecomics.com at Gmail. That said, Just a couple of reminders. Let me make sure everybody. Where is New York Hardcore? In lovely Dobbs Ferry, New York. Hello from Denver. What's happening, man? Are you knee deep in snow yet? So I want to make sure everybody's behaving in the chat room. Listen, we know you guys come here to chat, but there's a show going on also. So you're free to. I went to a fight and a hockey game broke out. What else I want to mention? Oh, the New York Hardcore Chronicles live merch. Here is. I know a lot of you out there have ordered stuff. I see gals with the leggings. I got the mug here. The doggy hoodie, the phone case and all that. Let me put the link in the page. Link. Here you go. Lancelot Link Secret Chimp. Remember that one? All right, here you go. There's the link. The pillows didn't run out. The pillows, no, Greg, the pillows, we have not run out of pillows yet. So if you need to prop your girl's ass up on one, take off your yarmulke and buy one, you cheap fuck. So that said, what else? The flamethrower, we're not there yet. The New York Hardcore dildos, we're not there yet. But we're getting there. That said, there's the link. Here's the link again. Buy shit. Support the show and buy shit. Also, as we're getting ready to bring our guest on, I just want to mention for those lurkers out there, because I know we have a lot of worldwide lurkers out there. This is the Patreon page. Come in from the cold, fellow lurker, and support the show. There's the Patreon page. Don't be scared. It's our community within a community. For those of you who cannot wrap your head around the statistical density and conceptual continuity, as Frank Zappa would say, of the Patreon page, there is the PayPal page. You can make a donation. Support the show. All right? Support the show that supports you, huh? Stop being a taker. You can't go through life being a taker your whole way, No lurkers, no scrubs. That's right. Lurking from Belgium. Welcome, Chris. Glad you've come out of the shadows. So there you go. Join the gang, you cheap fucks. So that said, here we go. Don't mooch. I haven't heard that in a minute. Don't mooch. Don't be a moocher. So, all right. Let me clear the deck here. Let's see. Let's see. How do you be? Let's clear the deck. What the heck? All right. And here we go. That said, I'm excited. I know you are too. Today's guest is an American guitarist, singer, songwriter, and record producer, best known as the catalyst and driving force behind the band Helmet. The majority of his work has been in the hard rock and alternative genre, though trained in jazz guitar with substantial connections in avant-garde music and film composition. Please welcome, coming to us from the city of Los Angeles. Come on now, strap it on. Please welcome Mr. Page Hamilton.
Hey, what's up, Drew?
Buddy, what's happening?
Not too much. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Hanging in there.
Yeah. So tell us, what was happening when the zombie apocalypse hit? What was going on? Did you have shows booked?
I was actually in New York, or Connecticut. My Connecticut family, my godson and his sister and my best friend out there. I always go out early, and we had an album release show for my band Malumbo and Page Hamilton. It's a bunch of guys I used to play with in Brooklyn a million years ago in the 80s. And we had an album that came out on Rope-A-Dope, and we were going to do a show. So I was out early with my family, having fun, relaxing. And then it got kind of increasingly, weird. And I thought, this is not going to go well. I have to get out of here and get back to LA so I don't get stranded. And I actually pulled the plug on the show. I talked to the promoter, and they're like, we're gonna do this show as far as we know. And I was like, I talked to my friend David Torn up in Woodstock, who had been canceling events, and he and his wife have health issues and stuff. He said, I'm going home, dude. This is too dangerous for us, because they were going to play with us. David was.
Yeah, you just had to get the heck out of town before the door shut, huh?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we had such a busy year planned with the Helmet, and because last year was the 30th anniversary of the band, and believe it or not, and we were continuing the 30 by 30 by 30 tour, 30 songs, 30 cities. Right. In Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and South America, and then everything, as we know, is been postponed indefinitely. So hopefully now, I don't even know if 2021 if we're going to be playing. So
did you guys did a whole bunch of the 30th anniversary shows, right?
We did 30 shows in Europe and 30 in the US. That started, like, we flew over. Our home in Europe is in Prague. That's kind of our home base. We leave our stuff in Prague, and so we flew over and rehearsed over there, and then we just had a great tour. It was amazing. At first, the 30 song idea, which sounded great, chilling on my deck, and our manager says, "Hey, what do you think about doing 30 songs?" And you were drinking a beer and go, "That's great, yeah."
Sure.
Yeah, sure, no problem. And then you start to rehearse, and you're like, "God, 30 songs. That's for an old fart like me, man. It's not easy." So, but we got a good groove going, and we had a blast. The tour was one of my favorite that we've ever done, because we get obviously, for the band's been around so long, we get requests for all these tunes that we've never played live, including, like, just a friend sent the Gigantor Saturday morning cartoon video that we had done, and people always want that song. They want to hear the Bjork cover. They want to hear one of the Sabbath covers.
Right.
So I was like, let's just pull it all out and learn it, and it was a blast. It was really, really fun. So,
I mean, you brought up an interesting thing. I think we'll get into it later, but you guys are, as opposed to bi-coastal, you guys are bi-continental. You like you said, you have a second home base in Prague.
Yeah.
You keep your gear there. You do a lot of work over there, right?
Yeah, I feel fortunate. We have friends that in American bands that are well known and do well here, like the Toadies. We tried to bring over there, and we did bring Local H over. They had never been over. But for Helmet, it was kind of from day one. We were really lucky to sort of build a following. We were with Amphetamine Reptile, the original label we were on. Yep. That we did this Ugly American Overkill tour there. That was the first time we'd been to Europe as a band, and it was five bands, like 30 idiots on one bus, and we just tore it up and had a blast. And from that, so we sort of got a firm footing over there. So Europe has become. We usually do it on any tour cycle twice in the tour cycle, sort of like the U.S. So it's been lucky.
That makes sense. So let's talk a little bit about how you came up. I know you were born and raised in Oregon, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how you came up and how music kind of came into your orbit.
I was born in Portland, Oregon, and my brother and I were born there. And then Mom and Dad moved to Medford to start they had bought a motel for $2,000, and so we lived in the motel. And Dad started.
Wow.
We earned some money, and that became our home. We and there was not the live music scene. I didn't really know too much. I mean, we had bands like Heart and your band talking about Aria Speedwagon earlier. We'd have stuff like that, Little River Band, like woo, yeah, and I just wanted to see Led Zeppelin and AC/DC and Black Sabbath, and they were not going to come to Medford. I did see Rush, and I saw Blue Oyster Cult, and I saw
didn't Jimi Hendrix have a Seattle connection?
He has a Seattle connection, but yeah. So my hometown is it's the Rogue Valley. There are probably 30,000 people or something like that. So we, it was not on the touring schedule, but I at Payless drugstores had records, and I've started buying, saving up my lawn mowing money and buying records and stuff. And I just started fantasizing about, playing guitar and being in a band. And I got a guitar at 17. Finally, it was a $40 acoustic guitar, and was still fantasizing about it. My father said, "No, you're going to go to college," and I think I was a pre-med major the first year, but I flunked out. I was terrible, but I went to the community college the next year and ended up auditioning at the music school at University of Oregon after 6 months at community college. I needed to learn to read, sight read and all that stuff. So I studied classical guitar and jazz guitar, and just sort of put my nose to the grindstone and did it.
Who as a young teenager, who spoke to you musically, guitar wise? Who really inspired you as a young teenager?
Yeah, as a young teenager, I loved, as I said, Jimmy Page, Led Zeppelin, and the riff stuff really appealed to me. And then I liked, America and the Eagles when I was 13 or whatever. And then, and I heard Kiss and stuff. I had older cousins that played me Kiss and the Beatles and the Monkees. And to me, it was all kind of like just everything was cool. I just loved everything. And I, except for the stuff that was on the radio for some reason. And, back in the 70s, the radio stuff would have been like Firefall and Little River Band. And that stuff, I can admire them, I guess, as players and writers, but to me, it's sort of like Bon Jovi. It just doesn't connect with me, on an emotional level or whatever. So it was kind of Zepp. And then my mom had a George Benson record, and I heard him. I was like, wow, I didn't even know you could play the guitar like that. That's insane. Yeah. So I really got into jazz, and then I heard about this Miles Davis record called Kind of Blue, and that had John Coltrane and Miles Davis and Bill
Evans. Come on now.
And I just flipped. I just was like, I don't even know what that is. It's so deep. And so by the time I was studying music, obviously that music was a big part of it. And I kind of put rock on the back burner because all the stuff that was big at the time, like Toto and Journey and Foreigner and Styx and everything didn't really, for me personally, didn't really connect, so jazz was cooler, I thought.
Any jazz guitar players, early jazz guitar players that really inspired you?
Well, Wes Montgomery is my all-time guitar hero, period, number one. I've transcribed hours and hours and hours.
Wow.
To my hands hurt trying to figure out his octave stuff, and he just blows my mind. But I also love Jim Hall and a lot of Charlie Christian, obviously, because those guys, they sort of talk about the birth of modern guitar is Charlie Christian. So the Benny Goodman stuff that was cool. I got into that, and those were kind of it. Then it was horn players like Train and I love Wayne Shorter a lot. This great composer, saxophonist that played with Miles, obviously, and then piano players like Thelonious Monk and Bill Evans were kind of my main. They're still sort of heavy in my listening rotation.
So you come to New York and you study jazz at Manhattan School of Music, right?
Yeah,
how'd that come about?
I foolishly thought, my fantasy was to live in New York. That's where everything was happening. That's where bebop essentially was born. Everybody came from North Carolina and New Orleans and Chicago and all those great players, and they created this incredible thing. And I got to New York and I think I'd saved like $550. I auditioned for grad school and I got in and I got a scholarship. And so I came in. I was mopping the floor at the theater at Manhattan School of Music, and I ended up getting a room in a welfare hotel, an SRO hotel on 99th and Broadway called the Clinton Arms. And I got a job there.
That's funny because I know it. I know the Clinton Arms. I lived on the 100th and Broadway for many years.
No way! Oh my God.
Yes, I lived in the SRO a block away. I live in the Whitehall.
Oh, absolutely! Wow, that's incredible, man. Well,
yeah, man.
I paid $180 for my room, and I shared a room. I shared my bathroom and a kitchen with my side of the floor were all Bengali-speaking guys from Calcutta, and the other side were patois-speaking Haitians. So I was hearing all this music all the time, and I ended up getting a job at the front desk working from midnight to 8 a.m. and then I go
cool
during the day. Yeah. So I was hearing like 6-7 languages every day. And there was voodoo going on and fires and rescuing people out of the elevator. And a guy, came in with a pair of women's panties on his head that had just been let out of Bellevue and just the crazy stuff. And I'm, a kid from Oregon, and it was just kind of eye opening. And I was just so fat. I remember a guy, I'll never forget this guy playing, Pavane for a Dead Princess by Maurice Ravel, naked in front of his window on his French horn. I'm like, where's that music coming? And I look across the street and this guy's playing naked in front of them. I'm just like, your mind's. I was writing letters home to my friends, and it was like 8,000 degrees and rats pouring out of the river at night. I'd go down to the river because it was cooler, but it was just an eye opening, and it was just such a great. There were so many, every musical option in New York at the time in 1985, 86 was open, it was just incredible.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what was New York like when you came here? And I know eventually you made your way down to the Lower East Side, right?
Yeah. I got a bartending gig. So I moved up after I got out of the welfare hotel. I saved up, actually got a job at the Learning Annex, driving and delivering those magazines. Because I was 6 months behind on my rent at the welfare hotel. That's bad. I mean, I was broke, and I got this job at the Learning Annex, and they were paying some incredible salary, like $400 a week. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be rich. And so I ended up paying off my back rent, and then I moved up to 141st between Broadway and Riverside. And it was, it was at the height of yeah, if you look at, I checked it out in the New York Times a while ago, the height of the crack epidemic, and our block was the one they did 2 raids on. So I saw a lot of stuff, and it was that area. There was, I think we were between I forget, Dominicans, and it was just a very.
We used to call that neighborhood was the Wild West back then, man.
Yeah,
that neighborhood was wild back then.
I was fortunate. I mean, I've had a knife pulled on me once, and the guy got like my Wall Street Journal plastic watch and some jumper cables out of my Learning Annex, man. I was like, it's all yours, thanks, and like 75 cents. So, but there were, you did hear a lot of gunshots and stuff laying in bed, but it was a great. I was still incredibly motivated. That's where I wrote the first Helmet music. I saved up, and I bought a 4-track and started writing, and I had auditioned for the Band of Susans and got in, and then I also auditioned for Glenn Branca's guitar ensemble and got into that. So
you played with both of them, and you recorded with both of them, correct?
I recorded, yeah. Glenn, I was fortunate to record. So I'm on Symphony No. 6. We worked on Symphony 8, and I ended up playing with him when he came out to Los Angeles to do the Symphony 13 for 100 electric guitars, and that was an absolutely mind-blowing. I actually went to the premiere when the first time he played it at World Trade Center, and I was I'd been on the road, so I couldn't participate at that time, but I got to see the performance, and it was just a mind-blowing piece. And Glenn, and I was on Band of Susans record. It's called Love Agenda.
And you sing a song on that, right? You sing "It's Locked Away."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, wow, you did. that's digging deep. Yeah.
Hey man, this is my job now, man.
Yeah, that's great. That's amazing, man.
I listened to it today.
Oh, cool. It was fun. Robert Poss, the leader of Band of Susans, he's the one that sort of opened my eyes to the different ways you could use distortion and feedback and stuff. Because I had kind of given up on rock for a while, and then we went on tour with a band called Wire, which you of course know.
Of course.
I'm still friends with those guys. I played on their album Object 47, and I discovered Killing Joke and Gang of Four and the Undertones and Buzzcocks, and I got to play shows with Buzzcocks on the Warped Tour in '06, and they were great. And yes, I was like, wow, you can't. There is, you can do fresh things with the electric guitar. It's not dead. And so it was an amazing time for me.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was also such a vibrant time for music in New York City. I mean, down in the Lower East Side, and it was just a real, a lot of things. It was a cauldron of music. I mean, so many venues. The fall of the Roman Empire hadn't started yet, as far as the music business. Yeah,
it was amazing. I mean, our first gig ever was at a place in Brooklyn called Louderbacks, and then we played the Pyramid, and we did. Oh my gosh, on Second Avenue, I'm drawing a blank right now. Lismar Lounge. All these cool little places. You could walk blocks away.
Yeah.
We actually at CB's we just did. I went in with our cassette demo. We had saved up our bartending tips and did Don Fury's down in Soho. We did.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know you recorded at Don's.
Yeah, that was the very first recording. We did Born Annoying, Rumble, Shirley MacLaine, and Gay Should Go. Those 4 songs were with Donnie. 8-track, and that's also where we worked with Glenn Branca's group. So, we did. I went in with a demo tape to Louise Parnassa and Hilly at CB's, and Louise, they were she was so droll and just like, I was like, well, I might listen to it in a couple of weeks. If you want a gig, you should audition. And I'm like, when, and so we ended up doing it one of the Sunday or Monday audition nights, I think it was, and And we were fortunate. Mike Kirkland and Tommy Victor from Prong worked the door, and Tommy did front of house, and they were like booked this band immediately. So we played there every month, and it became kind of our home. So
yeah, I mean, Tommy was doing sound there for a long time, and
yeah,
he saw a lot. Tommy saw a lot working there doing sound.
We actually this year we're released. Well, if it's this year, early next year, we're releasing a show. I think you could pay. I think it was $50 back then, and they had the 2-inch 16-track machine and CDs. And if you give us $50, we'll record your show for you. And I found the tape.
Wow.
And I digitized it. Obviously, put it in Pro Tools. We mixed it, and it's pre-strap it on. So there's like the first song on there. It was just called Untitled Intro, and we're putting the whole show out. I'm pretty excited about it. It's
That's
really
great, man.
Really raw. We were aggressive, to say the least. But
so, tell us about forming Helmet. I mean, about how did that come about, and how did it come together?
In Band of Susans, Robert, as I said, he's kind of turned me on to using distortion and his way of writing. He had the 4-track, and he said, "I have this 4-track and a drum machine, and so it's kind of I ended up starting my production career then, with the 4-track and doing overdubs and bouncing tracks and all that stuff. And I took some songs into Robert, and he I think the songs were Shirley MacLaine and Gay Should It Go. And he was like, "Oh, these are really cool pages. They're not right for a Band of Susans." So I just decided at that point I needed to form my own band, because I just wanted to be writing and singing. And so I was working at Rockpool writing reviews under fake names, because they wrote no bad reviews. So I think my names were like Froth Albumin or Seth Albumin, or I had these stupid, because you had to say good things about every band, or you can't say bad things, you know what I mean? Like Thrashing Doves, and I remember Butch Vig's band Fire or something. And so I was writing reviews and stuff in envelopes, just kind of, because I had no work after I got out of Band of Susans. And my friend Renee Kukuro, she worked at Rockpool. She's the one that hired me, and she said, "I'll pay for an ad in the Village Voice for you if you want to audition people for your band," because I didn't have the money to do it, and so she paid for the ad for me. And I met John Stanier through that first ad, and I went to his apartment, and he was on the Lower East Side, 14th Street. I was still living uptown, but I had started bartending downtown, I think. And he played me some. He had a band in Florida, where he was from, called Jehovah's Sickness. It was a hardcore band. And I was like, "Oh man, this is the guy I'm looking for." I could just he had his groove. His groove was intense, but he could play up tempo, like hardcore grooves, like double time and stuff. And he just and we just clicked. And then Renee's husband at the time was this guy Peter Mengaday, who was from Australia. And I asked her, "So how does he play?" And he was kind of a party buddy, when I got to know him. And then I was like, "Well, I'm doing this band, why don't you play guitar?" And then we did another ad in The Voice and auditioned bass players. And Henry Bogdan showed up with this 8-string Hondo bass and his dreadlocks. And I was sick of trying to teach people Born Annoying, which was in 7/8. It's like, no, it's bottom, 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1, and then people were just like, "What?" So I was like, said, "Henry, do you know I Want to Be Your Dog?" And he's like, "Yeah." So we played the Stooges song, and we just looked at each other like, "Yeah, this is the guy." It's just no doubt about it. So that the band was born.
Is this the original Helmet lineup right here?
Yes, that's it. That's us. Yeah, that's in Soho. I remember that photo. Yeah. That's John Stanier, Peter Mengaday on the far right, and then Henry Bogdan.
All right, I got it right.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So right out of the gate, I mean, you guys were pretty proficient. You put out, you got signed to Amphetamine Records, and you put out the single, and you put out Strap It On, and you get out there and you start doing stuff, and then the big boys start calling, right?
Yeah, I was very adamant about having a rehearsal schedule. So we ended up getting a room at the music building, and we rehearsed 3 days a week. And if your parents were in town, or your siblings, or it was the holidays, it didn't matter. We were rehearsing 3 days a week. That's it. Period. There were no excuses. So we ended up getting pretty good pretty quickly. And when the audition. We did the recording and got it. I sent tapes out to like Homestead and SST and Sub Pop, and this guy Tom Hazelmeyer from Amphetamine Reptile called and said, I want to put out Born Annoying and Rumble. Here's the deal. I give you guys, I think it was 500 copies of the album. I pay for the production. You had already paid for the mixing and recording and mixing, and that was it. We just started going around to record stores in New York and selling them, and we'd poster for our gigs. But then the band. After the CB's audition and playing there every month, more and more people were showing up. And Hazelmeyer, at one point, he just goes, "I can't. You guys are too big for the label. I can't take it anymore. Everybody's calling me." And so he said, "I know this guy, Dave Ayers, who works at Twin Tone. When Twin Tone was the parent label for AmRep, so they were kind of under that umbrella." And we just started kind of fielding. I was ready. The first person to call was like, "We'll give you $10,000 in a van." I'm like, "Yep, okay, sounds good."
Let's go.
We were tired of renting a van and disconnecting the odometer and we'd go out for a month on tour, disconnect the odometer, spray the WD-40 on it, and come home. And we'd each have like $500 in our pocket. And but so the label started calling, and Dave was like, "Just calm down, don't sign anything." And we ended up with this big bidding war. And it was hilarious. I mean, I met I won't say these people's names, but it's like, "We hear you boys are the next big thing, and we got Skid Row, and Skid Row's from New York, and you're from New York." And I'm like, "Is this Skid Row from Jersey?" And he's like, "New York, New Jersey," And so everybody was.
I remember, you guys being touted as the next Nirvana, and the next
my favorite.
The next U2 and shit like that.
Yeah, that was my favorite. Oh, one guy I will say that I met that was kind of awesome, Ahmet Erdogan, and he
wow,
because he's Led Zeppelin, and I mean everyone, and he put his hand on my arm. He's like, "I hear you boys are going to be the next big thing. When they played me that U2, I didn't get it, but look at them." And I was just like, "Oh my God, has this man heard our music?" There's like U2 and Nirvana, like, man, it was. But and another guy had said the next Nirvana, and he said, "If you guys strike a nerve, we'll be here for you. If we strike a nerve, like, what are you talking about, man?" It was really funny. But
so
Jimmy,
why Interscope? So what made you say, "You know what, Interscope"?
They as you know, like many people that sign to major labels, you have no control once you do that. I actually talked to Tommy Victor about that. He felt like they kind of did music that he didn't dig when they signed to a major. And he told me because we took them out and had a great tour a couple of years ago. And he said he was stoked at the way that we stuck to our guns, but. The reason we went to Interscope, there were two reasons. They offered us 3 records firm, meaning they have to pay us for 3 records no matter what.
Yeah.
And I had complete creative control. So they couldn't come in the studio and go like, "Well, we really like that song, that Teen Spirit song, do you want we need something like that." They never did that. So I had already written about half of Meantime, and so we just went in and recorded it, and that's so it came out. So it and it struck a nerve apparently. So it was fun.
I mean, Meantime, listen, went big. I mean, it went gold, right? It reverberated. That record really, it was really and. You guys, the attention you guys got from signing the deal also, was sort of at the forefront also, I mean, which probably was a little annoying, I'm sure.
It was, I mean, look, it was the 4 of us were very united in what we were doing. We wanted to do music that we liked, and we weren't trying to cater to any particular audience. We didn't care what people called us, and what kind of music it was or whatever. Yeah. And it was just, we were just kind of 4 dorks, and people like, "Oh, that's a marketing thing. You were in shorts." And I'm like, "Yeah, because it's hot on stage in Florida." And it's like, and we had no plan. Henry had the dreadlocks, and after being in a van for a month, he's like, screw this. And so I didn't tell anybody to chop their hair off or dress anyway. Just Peter wore like Beetle boots and, tight jeans, skinny jeans, and it's just John and I always wore shorts, and that was kind of our look, I guess. I don't know.
I like one of our people out there, the Human Falafel, says all the new metal movement should pay taxes for the helmet influence.
That's funny. Yeah.
But,
No, I mean, a lot of guys in bands have said not very nice things to me, including like, obviously Limp Bizkit and Korn and Deftones, and, Dimebag from Pantera. And they've always been very, complimentary and said that we showed them the way for, a part of their music. So it's cool.
Yeah. Just another thing I just want to touch on, which is, I don't know if you notice in the corner over there, that's my Judgment Night Gold record.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I have one. I was in the Biohazard camp back then, and they're on it, and good people that they are. I was part of that whole machine, and
that's nice. Cool.
Yeah, when it went gold, they presented me with one, which was very nice. But a lot of us, a lot of people. You were already on my radar screen, but I'm sure for a lot of people, that soundtrack, which went gold, also, must have brought a lot of people. You guys in House of Pain, right?
Yeah, I think so. And they approached us with the project, and the idea was to put a rock group with a rap group, and we were one of the first ones that they approached. And I didn't really know House of Pain. I knew like Eric B. and Rakim and Boogie Down, KRS, that's stuff from New York, but and I was like, yeah, that sounds fun. And we went into the studio that we did Strap It On in Meantime at Wharton Tears Fun City up on First Avenue 20.
Oh wow, now you're going deep. Wharton Tears, huh?
Yeah, I was right by Essebagel there.
Wow.
Yeah, and so we went down there, and it was they had a whole team of people, including their manager. And I saw the songwriting credit, and it was like, and I'm like, who is this guy? Like, I have no idea who this is. It's like, oh, that's our manager. I'm like, because he was in the room with us, he gets songwriting credit. But everybody just sort of looked at me, and we're all set up at Wharton's. It was John Henry and I, and Rob is in the band at the time, that's Bria, and the House of Pain guys, and Lee and Eric and Danny. And then, they were like, well, they just looked at me, what are we going to do? And I was like, we're going to write a song together, right? And so I go like, I have this Helmet riff that I was going to write a song with. It's really good. And I played it for everybody. And we essentially kind of put the song together. Stanier and I put the song together probably in like, an hour, the arrangement. I go, here's the riff. And John was so amazing. And then kind of double timed the chorus and did this, more movement thing. And then we sent them the tracks, and we were on tour, came out to Los Angeles, and I went to the studio. They were in a completely different vibe than the basement at Wharton's. They had a gigantic bag of weed. They had like adult films on the, I was just like, is this really conducive to work? Like, I just didn't get it. Because, New York, you're like, everything is like you sit down, you have a plan, you do pre-production, you rehearse, and you do the work. And
time is money.
You do 3 takes of the song, and if you don't have it, you move on. We did everything. Like the rhythm tracks were all live, guitar, bass, drums, and so if we didn't get it on the 3rd take, we'd move on. And it was just like, let's go. And so it was fun. I talked to the singer. He's like, what are you thinking lyrically? I said, I have this idea about the people feeling victimized all the time, and that's sort of how it came together. So I wrote the words, and it was fun. It was a good time. They did it live with us twice. They came on stage at the Net Aid concert, an AIDS benefit we did at the Palladium, and actually Rob Halford was singing with Anthrax. You guys were talking about Halford earlier, but. So we did that show. It was fun. And then we were in Japan in Sapporo, and we did a show with House of Pain, and they came up, and they were so inebriated that it was just kind of a shit show, but it was.
Yeah. A lot of their shows were like that. Let me ask you this. You mentioned Rob Echevarria in the band. He was in Straight Ahead, and he was Rest in Pieces. When you were in New York back then, did you, I'm assuming, you showed up at some hardcore, at some matinees. I mean, was this hardcore stuff? I mean, had to have been on your radar screen. And how did Rob come on the screen?
Yeah, I mean, John Stanier was our sort of hardcore aficionado, and he turned me on to a lot of great stuff. And I mean, you were talking about Agnostic Front earlier. Sick of It All is a band we ended up taking on tour with us that I just loved. They were amazing. They're great dudes, and the music was great, and it was and they were really funny. I know you said you had Armand on, and I still laugh at some of that. And they knew Rob from their scene because they grew up together.
They all grew up together. Yeah,
I think it was Steve Martin who was in Agnostic Front for a bit. He said, I have this friend Rob was a really good guitar player. And I had just it was just time to move on from Peter. We had a wreck where a van rolled in, and we had people badly injured, and I don't want to get into it, but it was time to move on from him. And so John and Henry agreed, and we auditioned Rob. He was just, it was what we were looking for at the time. He played the parts really well. And on the Betty album, I hadn't even planned to have him on the album. I was just going to do all the guitars myself, but he ended up coming in. He learned every song, and I wasn't going to, keep him out of that. So he did. And it was great dude. We're like, yeah.
I mean, my perception of Helmet was always, it's your vehicle. It's Page Hamilton's vehicle. It's your thing. My perception is people come and go, but Helmet is really your vehicle. That's the way I always saw it.
Yeah, I mean, the band, John, they acknowledged that at a certain point it was. I mean, I formed it from the ground up, but then we were all equals, and we were writing together, all four of us. But I was writing kind of 3 songs to every one song the band was writing, and then when you get into it, you rehearse 3 days a week, and then there's the nights when you feel like chilling at the bar or whatever. Well, I'm home working on stuff, and so I think the stuff that I was writing was better, and I ended up, I was a singer and the writer and producer and whatever. So it was, but without these amazing musicians, you're not gonna, the sound of the band is it's a result of the combination of musical personalities, obviously.
Yeah.
But that vocabulary was something I was walking home one night really late when I lived in Stuyvesant town for a minute. A friend of mine had an apartment there, and I was walking home at like 4 a.m, and I got a riff in my head, and I sat down on the guitar and I picked it up, and it was the low note I was hearing was off the fretboard. So I was like, oh, how about if I tune the low string down? And that sort of opened the vocabulary up. And at that point, we sort of kind of developed our identity. So this minimalist kind of inspired by Glenn Branca, thing. Yep. That ended up, becoming our thing, because it took me out of all my old bad guitar habits. I was listening to riffs, hearing riffs away from the instrument. So I think it was a lot more interesting at that point. But yeah. Yeah.
Well, there's a photo there. I guess that would be the second lineup I see Rob in there.
Yeah.
That's the Betty lineup, right?
Yeah, it's the Betty lineup. I got a nice soul patch there.
Yeah, right. A lot of people love Betty. They say that's their favorite record, man. And I know in a lot of ways, that record, I think that record charted the highest for you guys. That must have been an exciting time there.
It was, honestly, when I look back on it, after, Meantime went gold, and we got the Grammy nomination, and we were all, the talk of town or whatever. Everybody at that point had an opinion and had wanted to participate, and the label was like, Jimmy Iovine, who's going to produce the record? And I'm like, I thought we did a really good job. We sold 650,000 whatever records. We're touring the world, and but he wanted us to. So we had this T-Ray guy that we met through.
Yeah, I remember T-Ray. I mean, T-Ray was involved with. Wasn't he involved with House of Pain in those?
House of Pain and Cypress Hill. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so he did the remixes of Just Another Victim.
And
we liked it. And I said that guy was cool. So the thing was, we had our sort of system down, and when we were with T-Ray in the studio, he'd say like, God, he's like, I don't have to do nothing, Paige. You got your shit sewed together. It's like, I've never seen it. And I'm just like, why are we paying you $30,000?
Hey, that was. By the way,
he's talented, but I wasn't ready to let anyone in yet.
That was a good T-Ray. That was a good T-Ray impression.
He ended up doing cool remixes of stuff. And I did learn from him. I just thought at the time I wasn't really, like I say, ready to let someone else in and participate in the production and stuff, because I feel like we were on our path, and after when I was meeting people, all these metalheads and stuff got into us, and I kind of wanted to throw a curveball. So Betty's got a lot of weird stuff on it, the little jazz guitar intro noise thing. And John and Henry wanted to write, so I sat down with them and said, this is how I go about it. And Henry wrote that a couple of really cool things. And he came in like a 7-minute funk jam for Silver Hawaiian. I was like, let's trim this down to like a song, and I did the Mr. Ed, like the low vocal thing. Hey, it was fun.
Who is the girl on the cover of Betty?
She's the photographer's wife. We found, I had this idea. I was laying in bed, and I had left my then girlfriend, now ex-wife. We got back together and got married. But I was laying in bed, and I was really into Aladdin Sane, Bowie at the time. I was listening to a lot of Aladdin Sane, and I just for some reason had this image of a woman in an English garden sitting by a pond and with flowers. And I thought, man, this for these metalheads and whatever, this would be kind of funny, to do something, because we're here like, the steel worker and macho and testosterone and whatever. And I was like, nah, let's do something. And so there she is. Yeah. So he had the people we were working with that did the covers had photos, and I just looked through book after book, and I go, what is this? And it's like, there's pictures of her water skiing and a suburban house that looked like the house that I grew up in Southern Oregon, and it was just perfect. I just thought it was really funny.
Awesome. Hey, give me a minute. Let me shout out my sponsors.
Yes.
And let's come back and let's bring our friend Neil Zum Osberg on from Fryette, and let's talk a little gear.
Sure, sounds good.
See you in a minute. It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. There you go. Our guest today is Paige Hamilton from Helmet. We are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, Your Core Hardcore fan page, and The Organic Grill, as if you didn't know. Organic Grill's a vegan restaurant located in the East Village of New York City at 123 First Avenue, featured in New York Magazine, the New York Times, and Veg News. Their dishes have won numerous awards, including Best Veggie Burger. They make their own cheeses, sausages, burger patties, and every dish on the menu could be made gluten-free. It's free, it's gluten-free. If it's free, it's for me. This year, they are celebrating the 20th anniversary, and they're all about having a great time while enjoying amazing, clean food. They're now open for deliveries after 3 months of being closed. Get in touch with them and order some great food at www.theorganicgrill.com. That said, what else do I need? Oh, if you are watching this show in a replay of it, please, or anyone else out there, subscribe to the show subscribe to the channel on YouTube. The button is right about there. Please subscribe. I'm like 140 people away from being able to integrate a couple things into my YouTube page. So please subscribe to the show on Stone Films NYC YouTube page. A couple other shows coming up that I want to mention. Like this one, Sunday, November 1st. We got an old friend of ours coming on, Mr. John Connor from Dog Eat Dog. Kind of stoked on that. Should be fun. Also, after John Connor, we got AC Slade from Dope and the Murder Dolls, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, and of course, the Misfits. Looking forward to talking to AC. That should be really great. Then after AC, listen, how blessed am I? We got the 75th show coming up with Walter Schreifels. Super excited about it. 75 shows. Thank you all for your support. It's been a great run. We have many more mountains to climb together. So excited about Walter Schreifels on Sunday, November 8th. Gorilla Biscuits, Youth of Today, Quicksand, Rival Schools, Dead Heavens, every other band on the planet Earth. Walter is a career musician and absolutely does it big. So that said, also, I got to announce this one. How about this? You ready? Put your shoes and socks on, kids. It's right around the corner. Clank your chains, count your change. Coming up, here we go. Martin Atkins from Public Image, Pigface, Ministry, Killing Joke, and 9 Inch Nails. It's coming on the show. Super stoked and excited about that. Martin's a great guy. Lots to talk about. We do lots of cool stuff on this show. So, got Martin coming on. Can't beat that with a baseball bat, huh? It's a cool show. People want to come on the show now. Every once in a while, we steer away from, hardcore knuckleheads and try to mix it up a little bit. Yes, Martin is a legend. And we're really excited to have him on the show. Listen, about the Dog Eat Dog episode with John Connor. Do you know what John Connor's day job is? Let me tell you. He drives a Zamboni. How cool is that? So we're going to talk about Zambonis and stuff when he's on the show. John, thank you, John. You're a great host. Of course, people want to go on your show. Hey, we have a positive show and we have a good time with it. What else do I need to mention here? The merch. Let me put the merch link up. Don't be shy. The holidays are coming up. Check it out. Lots of cool stuff. There's the link to the merch. Also, support the show on Patreon. There you go. There's the Patreon page. Support the show. Things don't magically happen. For the most part. But that said, let me make sure everybody's behaving themselves. Yeah, how many people can say they drive a Zamboni? Exactly. You know what I mean? PMA all the way. Not to sound corny. PMA. You hear that a lot in the hardcore thing, PMA. It's like, come on. Hardcore is hard. Hardcore, what kind of makes hardcore great is once in a while someone gets punched in the face. That's kind of what makes hardcore great, So let's not get too carried away with the PMA thing. No, not John Connolly, nuclear assault, but funny nevertheless. Zamboni Stromboli. Let's not get back on this pizza thing. So that said, excited. Let's bring a friend of ours on. Let's get the Fryette. Let's get the Fryette logo up. What can I say about this guy? He's one of my oldest friends, bandmate of mine. I played an Antidote with him for many years. Love this guy. One of my best friends. You're lucky if you go through life and you have, 5 friends. Well, in my life, this guy's one of them. Let me say Fryette Amplification is a small company that makes guitar amps, attenuators, and direct recording products in North Hollywood, California. Their gear is used by the Deftones, Helmet, Candiria, Stone Temple Pilots, Powerflow, Antidote, Volbeat, Downset, and many other heavy bands. The brand new Deliverance 2 heads are now available at Fryette.com. Here he is, Neil Zum Osberg. What's up, bro?
Hey, great show, man.
Hey, listen, man. Come on. You're not.
It's like it's a walk down memory lane, but it's more than that because it's things that, I lived in New York during that period, and I still do, but there's things, that weave through and talking about the neighborhoods and, the clubs, Lismar Lounge. I mean, it's great stuff.
So listen, I want to thank you because you helped me. Connect with Paige, and super stoked to have him on. And let's bring Paige on and let's talk a little gear. Hey, man.
Hey.
And we're back. So let me kick this off initially, Paige. Let me clear the deck here. Oh, someone was asking what brew you're drinking, Paige.
Oh, I'm the king of beers. I'm into cheap, crappy beer. I love Budweiser. I've got I can't drink that microbrew fancy stuff. I have my koozie from the Cleveland wildlife thing in Australia. It's been glued together and
there you go.
Filthy nasty. But yeah, I know sorry. I hope kids don't drink. I hope I'm not a bad influence.
Hey, there are no bad influences. There are no bad influences on this show.
Yeah, it's football day, but yeah, I'm a Budweiser. It's just I know it and it knows me. So
There you go. Let me ask you.
Although this is a cool beer in Belgium. Our friends at Crow Mountain make a fancy beer. We've become buddies with these guys in Belgium, and this is excellent. It's for fancy beer. You can drink one.
Right. Well, some of our people are chiming in. I'm drinking Bud right now too, says John. So there you go. Let me ask you about. Let me put this photo up, and let me ask you about ESP Guitars. You've had a relationship with them for a very long time. Give us a little perspective on it.
Henry Bogdan was friends with Baker Rorick, and Baker ESP was just a little company on 48th Street in New York at the time, above 48th Street Custom Guitars. He said, "Hey, this friend of mine works at this guitar company, and they'd be into like giving us a deal on guitars." And I'm like, God, that sounds great. So I went in, and they had maybe, I don't know, 30, 40 guitars on shelves, and I went in. I just started pulling guitars out, and I played. And you can pick up a guitar acoustically and tell how it feels and how it sounds, obviously. And I also to be honest with you, I really like the idea of how the CB scene and downtown music, and there was a lot of good music going on, but there was also a lot of fashion. It was sort of like if you don't have a beat up Fender Mustang and you bury your vocals and your hair's in your eyes, and I was just kind of like, I wanted to do something that was a little obnoxious, like, hey, yeah, we're hardcore, or we're punk, and I was like, check out this guitar with the reverse headstock, and it's pink, and it's got a Floyd Rose. And I'll never forget playing in Long Beach, and one of our early Helmet fans, Kurt from Flipside, who actually did the photos that we're gonna use for the artwork for the live CB show. Mm-hmm. He was like, "What's with that guitar?" And I go, "It's nice, right?" People Long Beach was a hardcore scene back then too. And I don't know, there were great instruments. And I don't know who was playing him at the time, George Lynch from Dawkins, I think. And,
he's an early, right? That's an early player right there. Yeah. I
just developed a relationship with them, and Matt Massindaro, who's a New York boy. His father was an NYPD detective. And he goes back to the city a couple times a year to see his family, and he always sends me pictures of him eating pizza, and I'm because pizza in California sucks. But I feel lucky. I just did some videos because I'm releasing my distortion pedal. So this is the Relic. So this is like a copy of my original guitar, my the old ESP, which is beat to crap because I've smashed it on stage in, Minneapolis and in Toronto, and had it glued back together by Steve Marchioni, this great luthier who used to be based in New York. He made amazing guitars. But and we're re-releasing this as well. I kind of designed this from this is the first PH Sig model. Actually this one, I signed it on the back on this one. But this is a beautiful instrument. So we're going to re-release this year or early next year. I forget.
Got a question from our friend Tim Fubar. Why the single coil in the neck position?
There's no single coil in here. They're humbuckers in the bridge. When I designed this guitar with them, I originally had a stacked humbucker in the this is a DiMarzio. It's a Tone Zone, which was made for me by Steve Blucher, and I talked to Larry DiMarzio, and I'm like, I wasn't big enough to get a Page Hamilton pickup apparently, but this is if you buy the Tone Zone or Air Zone or whatever it's called, this is mine. I thought it'd be cool to have a versatile guitar because I do movie work, and so I wanted pickups, and all I did live is this thing just got in the way, and I'm too stupid to use so I'm like, this. Like I'm on stage and I just can't have all these knobs and stuff, so I had to strip down to this, and then we actually had a tech thought it'd be funny to put a spring where that was, so that became part of the signature model too. And my original one, I've had to replace the string because it got so rusty and corroded from my sweat. But that was just a gag. And there's actually in the original one, there's the Led Zeppelin album cover, Physical Graffiti. That building is on St. Mark's across from Mogador, the Physical Graffiti building. And there was that one picture of the fat guy, in the window, and I just thought, man, that's the guy, that's the naked guy playing Ravel. So I have that photo from the Zepp album cover in where the other volume knob used to be. So
Wolfie asks,
goofy things.
Paige, how many shows do you think the Magenta ESP has seen?
Man,
I mean, that's been your go-to for a long time.
it's been my yeah. Oh yeah, that's before I had that. It was actually this was my.
Now we're going deep.
Yeah, this old pic that you guys will see. This was this gold top I got at Sam Ash in Queens in 85, 86.
Wow.
I just broke one of the knobs off last week after all these years. This guitar has been, when we had the wreck, this guitar was just in the Les Paul case, and this flew out in the freeway in North Carolina, and thank God nothing happened to it. But this was my this was an original helmet guitar, and then I have a Strat that's not here, and then I had a G&L. But then I got the ESP, and that guitar, the ESP is probably, I mean, I can't even come close to estimating. I mean, 3,000 shows maybe, I don't know, in 30 years.
Wow.
Is that possible? We toured for, I mean, a couple of years straight where we were home for 1 week and then 8 days, and we'd get home and we did some of those shows like MTV Headbangers Ball or whatever, and then we'd go to Europe, and that was actually the Rollins Helmet Tour in '94. It was fun. I think 18 months of touring straight at that point, and then we had a little break, and then another 18 months. So,
Zum, you remember Sam Ash in Queens, huh?
Of course. And I also remember ESP. I mean, I even worked at ESP for a very short period of time. I used to cover one of the luthiers there, doing setup work there. When he went on vacation, I would go and work up there and set up guitars. So
when it was on 48th Street?
Yeah. And I know,
was it Paul Skelton or Daryl Gilbert, one of those guys? Daryl, yeah, cool. He's a great dude, man. Paul passed away from cancer, sadly. He was a great guitarist and great guy, but I love those guys, man.
Yeah. How about that page? That 48th Street, there's not a whiff of anything left on 48th Street at this point.
That's so sad. That's
Isn't that bizarre? Not even a plaque, nothing.
Man, I went in the blue G&L I got that I did Biscuits for Smut on, and many other recordings from Strap It On and stuff. I went into there's Sam Ash Manny's, the place across the street.
Rudy?
Huh? Not Rudy's, the big place.
We Buy.
So I go into We Buy, and I knew the guy in there, Brian Murphy, and we've been in touch over the last 5-6 years. And I said, I know you guys have guitars in there. I know there's something upstairs that nobody knows is here. And he's like, all right, Paige. So he let me go upstairs, start going through boxes, and I found that the blue G&L SC2. And stupidly sold it when I got divorced and I needed cash, and I was like, just like an idiot. I'm so mad. But Brian was great, man. He let me fish around up there. There's some gems. There's probably some amazing gear that It's.
I mean, listen. Growing up in New York City, of course, myself, like a lot of other people, after rehearsal, we'd wander down that street and just stare into the window of We Buy Guitars, and you would just go, look at that, look at that, look at this, oh, look at that, Joe Walsh plays that, oh, Ace, and you would just sit there and just bug out on everything hanging from We Buy.
I had the great fortune of meeting Danny Korchmar, who is an incredible guitarist and producer. You know him from producing like Don Henley's solo stuff, Billy Joel, you were talking about earlier. He produced that huge River of Dreams album. He got in touch with our publisher. We had the same publisher. He said, hey, who's this guy from this Helmet band? I love that stuff. I want to meet this kid. And so he took me to lunch in New York, and we ended up wandering down to 48th Street looking at guitars, because he got his first telly there, and for $150, it's now worth 30 grand or whatever it is.
Yeah, crazy.
And he walked in, and he was like, it was just like the Pope walked in. It was like, Danny, oh my God, like Manny's and stuff. And it was so cool because that's how long those connections. Like we're talking. He was a kid, when he was a kid and walking down to 48th Street, and now it's like, really, what is it, like a chirping chicken and or whatever, Church's chicken or something? I don't know.
Unbelievable.
And they raised Manny's building is gone.
Are you kidding?
Oh, the buildings are gone, man. The buildings are gone.
Oh my God! Wow.
Hey Neil, tell us how about how Fryette got involved with Page. A little bit of the history there between Fryette and Page and Helmet.
Well, it's really Page is going to have to explain that a little bit, but the thing is that Page is dedicated and loyal to the brand. I mean, come on, it's been amazing how long he's been using the gear. And, I went to see them Helmet play when they were on tour with Prong and when they played in New York. And, it gives me like a reason to live right when I hear at sound check, Page's tech just plays one chord. And I was like, no wonder I'm so into this, So, I mean, Paige, maybe you could tell a little bit about the history of just like how long you've been using the Pitbull heads and.
Yeah. Well, you remind me of a funny story. Julie Kafritz from the band STP, not Stone Temple Pilots, the New York band STP, downtown with way back, people that play with Reese Chatham, whatever. And she was like, well, Helmet's just. I mean, if you played Helmet through little amps, it wouldn't sound like anything. So they're all about these big amps. And I was like, yeah, that's what it is. We have these big amps. That's why we sound so good. But I thought that was pretty funny. But I was, I told you about the pickup that we designed. Steve Blucher is the genius at DiMarzio that designed my pickup. He would come to our basement. At the time, we were rehearsing in Little Italy, right, a block from the Ravenite social clubs. I see those guys all the time when I'm eating lunch. And we share with Sonic Youth and a band called the Weigels and the Braun Brothers. And Steve would come down to the basement and started, we kind of went through the pickup. I go, I can't feel it in the back of my teeth and the high stuff. So anyway, he designed the pickup. I was tired of my gear breaking down. I spent a bunch of money on custom gear, $30,000 and stuff, because we started making money. And Ardo Lindsay said he came to see us at Open for Ministry at the Felt Forum. And we were louder than the PA. We were so loud, but the gear wasn't. It was like these amps overheating. So Blucher said, there's this guy in California that makes these amps. I said, I just want an amplifier that, if everything shits the bed, unplugged from the pedals, straight in the amp, show can keep going. And so we're recording LA at Capitol Records. We're recording Aftertaste with Dave Sardi and this guy, this little guy shows up, and he's got this magenta, I'm not kidding you, power amp that matches my guitar. I'm like, whoa, that is so cool looking. It's huge. And we plug it in. We unplug the Mesa Boogie power amp that had been modified and whatever. And everybody's in the control room, farting around doing the thing. And I play a chord, and everybody stops what they're doing. They're just like. They just turn and they go, what the fuck was that? And I go, that's my new amp. And from then on, I was like, this is the shit, man. Using that, then I'm like, I have my old Marshalls and I use them for certain things, but the Fryette I've discovered over all these years, my low end range, my bottom, my top, everything, it just expanded, my sonic palette by, times 5. And some people have said, I don't like this stuff. And other people said, well, if you're not a good player, it's not going to mask your, because some of those amps mask they're mushy and it's not that, because it's like, I'm no virtuoso. I just know what I like sonically. And I use the full spectrum of the amp. And I've used it with, I use it obviously with Helmet. I leave a stack in Prague, but I use it on every movie thing I've done, from Heat and In Dreams, Titus, and Final Fantasy, all those big movies I did. That's my Fryette. I use it with Bowie. I used a half stack with Bowie when I did the Bowie Hours tour. The only thing I don't use those amps for are jazz gigs, because they're very percussive, and a jazz gig, you want a little softer attack and stuff. It's for me anyway. So I use a Fender.
Makes sense. What is it? Yeah, there you go. Right.
This is the reissue.
Oh, nice.
Purple.
Beautiful. That's my amp. That looks just like that.
Yeah.
Cool. What's the what do you call it? The tube? What you pulled out before, Page? Oh, there it goes behind you. Zum's got it.
I got
Zum's got it.
one.
That did I show you? I showed you guys this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zum-
This is what I use on movies now, because the composer I do the most work with, I can just drive to him in like 10 minutes. But so this fits in like a shoulder bag. So I take 4 guitars and 2 pedal boards, and then this, and it's amazing, man. It's changed my life. Yeah.
I know. And not only you, but I mean, I went and saw you guys play. Actually, it was a couple of years ago. Zum called me and said, "Hey, I got an issue tonight. I can't make it down to the Helmet gig at the Bowery Ballroom. Do you want to go?" I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll go." So I went with the gal I was dating at the time. Saw you guys play at the Bowery Ballroom. I guess, what was that, Zum? Like 5 years ago?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and yeah, it was a Fryette City, because on the other side of the stage, I guess Dan was playing. It was playing through Fryette gear as well, right, Zum?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We Danny had a Marshall, as many guitar players do, and JCM 800, which is a great amp, but as I said, there's something about the range, the low end, the percussiveness of the Fryette stuff, and it just we get a great blend together now. So it's in Helmet, the rhythm guitars are the song, as in any rock, AC/DC, whatever. So those have to be like perfectly balanced, and that's up front, and then everything from the top down mix wise, starts with the guitars and then the vocal, and that's so on and so forth. So yeah, great guitar sound.
You mentioned Paige. You mentioned soundtrack stuff, and there was a time there that I remember. You guys, there was a bunch of really great soundtracks in the early '90s. Judgment Night being one of them. The Crow being another one.
Yeah.
Even you guys were on both of those, and you were on the Jerky. You were in the Jerky Boys film, right?
Yeah, almost lost my eye. Yeah, we had those explosions that they had set up. So the Jerky Boys set my gear up, and Ozzy Osbourne was our manager. We did the gag was we did a Sabbath cover. We did Symptom of the Universe, and they had I hit the wah-wah pedal, and then these explosions happened all the way up the cable, and the last one was on my headstock. It was supposed to shoot up in the air, but it shot my face.
Oh.
So, see, if you're watching the movie and you see me singing and you see my head jolt back really fast, it singed my eyebrow, my eyelash off, and this big patch of skin came off. Just missed my eye. And I kept playing. I'm not doing this again, man. And I just kept playing, and we finished the shoot, and that was it, one take, and they were like, "Oh my God," I almost lost my left eye. But
wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, if you watch the movie, you can see my head jolt back really quick, oh man. I
saw the clip today. I watched the clip, but a lot of you guys ended up on a lot of great soundtracks. Helmet.
We did the one that I really loved. Also, somebody brought up the song "Complete" from the Johnny Mnemonic.
Johnny Mnemonic, right?
That was a great artist, Robert Longo, who he also directed the video for "Give It," the Helmet song "Give It," and that was an honor, because he was he did the Black Flags, those amazing Black Flags, and just a great artist. And I think he did Reese Chatham, the Donner got her album cover, and
you did "Feeling Minnesota." You were on that soundtrack too, right?
Yeah, I think that was it was Keanu Reeves and Drew Barrymore or something like that. We did that. I think it was a Strap It On song. I've lost track. There've been so many. When I started going through, we're gonna release a cover song box set, just 4 cover songs we did this year as well, or early next year, and. And for this, we're going to do a tour affiliated with it, where we're going to do the show's going to be cover songs. And I started going through stuff. We did Music for a Mother Ocean was the Bjork cover. We did the Stipe, Michael Stipe came to us. We did the Rock for Choice. We did I'm trying to think. God, there was so many. And then all those movies you mentioned. So it turned out we've done many cover songs over the years, but you kind of forget them because you pop in, like the Gigantor thing. It was like you pop in for a day, you knock the song out, and then it gets released, and you sort of forget about it, But it's fun, We've built up a catalog of that stuff.
Absolutely. Hey, you know what I need to do, and you guys can be a part of it. Let me clear the deck here. We got to do record of the week with Sid the Kid real quick. All right.
Yeah.
Let's do. We'll have some fun with it. Zum, you're in on this too.
All right.
Sid, what's happening, buddy?
Bro.
How are you, buddy? All right. I know you did your homework. Let me get your little banner up there. Boom. Sid the Kid. Let me find album of the week.
Wait,
okay.
The ticker, Drew. Come on.
Oh, the ticker.
Remind you every week, Drew.
I tell him he can remind me. It's okay. I won't get mad at him. It's wait, hold on. Let me find your banner. Let me find the Sid. Here it is. The Sid the Kid banner. The whole bit. Here you go. So this is Sid the Kid record of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, here you go. Hey, there you go. All right. Tell us about this, Sid. I mean, this one resonates with all of us. Give us a quick bit on this.
Well, everybody, I had to kind of dig through just to get to pull this one out today. This is definitely one of those heavy hitters that not a lot of people talk about, but I'm going to today. Obviously, this is Black Sabbath's 6th studio album entitled Sabotage, which was recorded from February to March of 1975 and was released on June 28th, 1975. The album itself was recorded at Morgan Studio in London, England, and was produced by the band and Mike Butcher. Now, one funny thing, some people kind of wonder why the album was called this. Around the time Sabbath Bloody Sabbath came out, they soon found out that their management and their label were basically ripping them off, like left and right. So during the recording of Sabotage, they even had to have lawyers come in just to sign affidavits and everything under the sun just to get this recording done. They were so stressed out. It kind of led up to, the reason why this title became that. The record itself, to me, is such a powerful and heavy mix of what would be, what Black Sabbath is known for, but also even going through the experimental route with songs like Am I Going Insane and Superstar. And if I'm not mistaken, when this came out, I believe it peaked at number 7 on the UK charts and number 28 in the US. But, for most of us, the one song that everybody knows from this record is Symptom of the Universe. And even my band, like 20 years ago, we used to cover the melodic version of it as an intro because it's such a hard fucking track and I love it.
Absolutely. Hey, Paige, Symptom of the Universe is on this. You just mentioned you covered it. Listen, I know Black Sabbath was an influence, but I mean, growing up as a teenager, I mean, did you? I mean, at a certain point, I assume you really just sort of glommed on.
It's fun. It's really funny when we did the movie, and the first day we met Ozzy because he was our manager in the movie, and he's like, I'm going to do a terrible accent, I can't, He's like, I was driving in my car in Los Angeles, and I heard this song on the radio. I said, I don't fucking remember recording that. That was Elmit, and he said, Elmit, them boys did their homework, and I was like, yes, Mr. Osborne, we did our homework. Thank you so much. And I remember that, and he was wearing a purple silk outfit. And he smelled really good, and he was, but he couldn't remember his line. He was on my side of the stage, and he had something about, wait, what do I say? He's like, fucking monkeys, and he's like, fucking, wait, what? Fucking monkeys? You just say fucking monkeys, but it was hilarious, man. He was really cool, and he suggested we do War Pigs, and I was like, he's like, you should do like War Pigs. I'm like. Guessing everybody and their mother covered that song, and at the time I didn't know if anyone had covered Symptom, but Stanier and I loved the song, and it just was a blast. It was really, really fun. We do it now it's part of the show, and it's just an incredible song. Yeah, and Zum, I know that you and I at one point with the Ampeg, what is it? The two we were talking about how those Ampeg, what are those? The 6, what are those? How they used to recommend having 2 of them together with the head, right?
That's right. The Ampeg SVTs. Well, no, the thing that this record, what strikes me that was so cool about this record was the nylon string guitar, the classical guitar that was on this record. I mean, that was like nobody did that, and I thought that was something that was really great.
Which we didn't. And that part of the Baroque doodling part of the song, I turned into like wall of shit feedback because so we did like kind of a different thing. Just didn't really, the acoustic guitar thing just didn't fit with Helmet. And at the time, I was very much into the AC/DC. When they were said we don't unplug for nobody, and VHT unplug was a huge thing. And I'm like, yeah, we're not doing that. Sabbath pulled it off. That was a whole different world. But you got to do something that's your own with the song as well. You know what I mean? So that was kind of our thing.
Absolutely.
Hey Sid, good work, man.
Hey,
yeah, cool one.
All right. You're doing good, Sid. You're doing your homework. Well done.
Oh, and guys, Drew, is my show.
Oh yeah. Oh, hold on, Sid. Hold on. Here we go, kids. Everybody out there, you're wondering what you're gonna do after the show. Boom! It's the Sid the Kid Sound System show coming at you today at 5 p.m.
Where's that picture from? What?
Looks like the Lower East Side.
Yeah, looks like
Google search of the Lower East Side, and that came up. I was like, perfect fucking flyer.
Looks like we did a photo shoot there once. Probably it's funny.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, like I tell you guys, if really quickly, like if you're on MixLR, it's 100% free to download on iOS, Android. It starts up at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you guys ain't doing nothing after that, jump on over, listen for a little bit. You don't have to do the whole thing, but you can listen for a little bit.
All right, Sid. Well done, young man. I'll talk to you soon.
All righty, gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of the show. Cheers.
See ya.
Thanks for being a part of that, you guys.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
It's like there's room on the boat for everybody. I wanted to ask you, Paige, and after this, we'll take a break. But I want to ask you about the Bowie thing. How did the David Bowie thing come about? I know that you came in. What was it? Was it the Hours tour? Is that what it was? And you sort of you kind of stepped in for Reeves, right?
Yeah.
And tell how did that come about? I mean, wow.
I had met Bowie 2 years earlier at the Schuttor Festival in Germany, and I knew we were going to be playing with him, and I was friendly with Reeves through Steve Blucher at DiMarzio, and seen Reeves play at the old knitting factory on Houston and stuff. And I put a Hunky Dory CD in my back pocket, and I saw Reeves, and Reeves said, he waved me over in catering to meet David. And I met him, and David was really gracious as he was. And he said, "Oh, Helmet, I love Helmet." And I started laughing. I'm like, yeah, right. And he's like, we go way back. But anyway, long story short, 2 years later, Reeves was going through a difficult time in his life. And after 13 years with David, it was time for him to part ways. And so I had just left my wife at the time, and I was sleeping on my manager's sofa, and I was just being an asshole, like going out every night till, 3 and 4 the next afternoon and stumbling in. And they said, "David Bowie's trying to reach you." And I'm like, yeah, right. And I said, "Let me go get a pack of smokes," because I was going to try to stop smoking that day. And he said, "Just be there at 5. I said 5 o'clock, and he called me at 5. He called anyway. He was like, he's looking, he would like me to play lead guitar with him on the Hours tour. And it was kind of an emergency situation, I guess. And I, of course, was like, yeah. He's like, we don't do like, really super heavy stuff all the time. And I'm like, I can play. I said, I can play beautiful, quiet and beautiful or whatever. And he's like, he just goes, "Oh, thanks for your enthusiasm." And he said, "What time do you get up? Be honest." And I go, "I'm usually up at noon, And he's like, "Could you make it to the studio at 11? And I'm like, gee, I don't know. Let me think. I can't really fit it in. Sorry. So, I met him the next day at the studio, and they played me some material. And then I got a list of 30 songs, and we were playing in 2 weeks, and we were going to be playing, SNL, Conan, Letterman, Rosie O'Donnell, all these TV shows. But then the biggies were like, we played Wembley Stadium, the Net concert. It was 1 billion people were going to see it. So I really couldn't screw up. And if you do Rebel and you eat shit, people are going to hate you. But it was amazing, man. It was absolutely amazing.
I saw that tour, and I saw you play with him. I think you did did you do the Hammerstein Ballroom or
we did what, in London?
No, here in New York.
Oh, Hammerstein Ballroom. Shit.
so.
New York show. Was it Hammerstein? That sounds right. God, I kind of forgot the New York show. I guess it was Hammerstein. I'm thinking like London. That was Astoria. We did. Yeah, Copenhagen, Vienna. Shit. Maybe it was. Sorry. That's.
So here's a question from Mark Tulch. When you play for David Bowie, do you get to play how you like, or does he direct you what he wants?
He said very specifically to me. He said, learn the songs and play in the spirit of the music. He didn't want me to play like anyone else. The thing is, to be honest with you, when you have to learn 30 songs in 2 weeks, and we're talking about at the time 1999, 30 plus years of material from Diamond Dogs and Ziggy style guitar to more modern things, like we did songs from Tin Machine, where program weird things. It was so labor intensive. So I was learning parts off records, and then things like we do Always Crashing in the Same Car from Low. And I was hearing, because Brian Eno did all those treated guitar parts, and I have these awesome Moog Moog pedals, which Moog geniusly designed. They took this circuitry from these synths and put them in pedals, so I could dial in some of those treated guitar sounds that Eno did, running guitars through Moog circuitry. I'm actually in the Moog document. I'm the only guitar geek in that thing. I think Moog was kind of like, I didn't think about doing it because I'm just making a mess, just like feedback noise and going, look, I love your pedal. He's like, this guy's an idiot. But yeah, so it was so much work. So learning the parts, like Always Crashing in the Same Car, Reeves would do something kind of more sort of arpeggiated, these notes thing. And I like this little groove. It was just like bow, bow, bow. And Bowie, turned to me, is like, whoa, that's cool. I never, nobody ever played that before. I just wanted to kind of find places to fit in, because the band had 2 backing singers, keyboard, another guitarist, bass drums. David would play guitar sometimes, and
that wasn't Carlos Alomar wasn't in that band, right?
No, sadly he was not in the band at the time. But I produced an artist, and Carlos was the guitarist on the session, and it was mind blowing. He's other level. Otherworldly. I actually took a lesson from him, and he's got such a great approach, and he's played on everything. Yeah, he's just the greatest. He wrote Fame, and it's like David and John Lennon, but that's Carlos, and he wrote. That
guitar riff that's Carlos.
Yeah, he's phenomenal, man. Phenomenal. But
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I didn't get to play with him on that tour, but coincidentally they just released about a month or so ago, I guess, the Paris show we did at Elysium Montmartre, which was incredible. And David, I really feel honored to be on this live album. And they did they filmed the whole show or whatever, and it's cool. It's really cool thing, to have that chronicled in part of my life. So
our friend Paul says, what a group of guitar players to be in. Stevie Ray Vaughan, who a lot of people still don't really know, plays all over that Let's Dance record.
Yeah.
Plays. I'm sure you guys. You playing China Girl. China Girl.
Yeah, China Girl. Yeah.
That's Stevie Ray Vaughan. Right?
That's Stevie. Yeah, Iggy did it. It's an Iggy Bowie song, and that was so much fun to play. We did that at the show. I think I can't remember if it was near the end. The encore, I think, was Rebel Rebel, and we did I Can't Read, which is a really cool song from the Tin Machine album. But it was phenomenal. It was fun. I learned so much. He would say things to me in rehearsal, like he'd turn to me, he's like, advice for budding young songwriters, and he'd look at me and he'd go, on your half of my tunes from Danny Kaye, the Inchworm. And I'm like, what is he talking about? I asked him about Ashes to Ashes, and I'm like, what the hell? Like that vocal, that idea for that song. And he's like, oh, Roy Orbison. Total Roy Orbison. That was the inspiration, like Roy Orbison. I'm like, wow, like you think about that falsetto, that beautiful kind of thing,
Yeah.
Remember who's been, it's.
Oh yeah.
And he loved.
I hear it now. I totally hear it now.
Cool, right? I know. It's really. It was.
Wow.
Cool. it was fun to also watch him play guitar because I'm giving guitar lessons now, which is really fun. And some people like don't know their open position chords, and some people didn't. And Bowie played the A like that, and then the B he just moved up a whole step. Played it like that. He said, "I'm an old folky," and it was really interesting. He's got his feel was. If you go through Rebel Rebel, which I did, I would go headphones note for note for note, and there are probably like 4 or 5 little whiffs in there where it's not perfectly played, but the feel is there the whole time. It swings. It's like he had this great feel, not a technical player, but just a natural musician. Man, it's incredible. It was incredible.
Absolutely. Hey Zum, anything heading into the future? We're going to take a break in a minute, but I just want to wrap up the gear thing. And by the way, everyone likes the Bowie shirt.
Yeah, it's cool.
Great. Yeah. And had to give some honor. I mean, another Fryette artist that uses our stuff is David Torn. I mean, he played with David. And
okay, I got to talk about David because David, we were in Copenhagen, and David Torn, who's another one of my heroes, is a genius. He had the Splatter Cell thing, which this album called Oa, which if you don't have it, you better get it. It's OAH, and it's a phenomenal record. So we're in Copenhagen after the show. I go up to Bowie and I go, "This is the guitar player you need." I kid you not. I handed him Splatter Cell, and he goes, "I've heard of this guy." He's like, "Reeves wouldn't talk about him. I think he was too nervous for me to hear him or whatever." And after that, Torn ended up on 3 Bowie albums. So I get some credit for that. So thank you very much.
Awesome.
Torn is a genius. He's incredible, man.
Yeah, and he's really amazing. He lives up in Woodstock, and I've been to
my old house.
And he's a fuzz pedal fanatic, and he's also using this gadget. So what's up for the in the near future? So we have a new version of the disc Fryette Valvulator DPDI coming out, which would be out before the end of the year or just in the beginning of 2021. And that's, tube amp, just, tubes, actual tubes, no plastic, steel, aluminum. It's one of our amps scaled down to 1 watt. And then the Power Load IR is coming out definitely this year, which is you can take any big high powered amp and it's a load box and you can record direct. So
wow.
All those big amps that anybody has like in their basement and their closets that they haven't used for years, you can just hook up the Power Load to that and record direct into an interface.
So you have control of the volume, right? And so you can still drive the amp and sit in your living room and your neighbors don't hate you because you're playing at 110.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you have a non-master volume vintage Marshall, you can just dime it.
Yeah.
And also the Power Station attenuators are available. There's the original PS2, which is still available, and the Power Station 100, which is like a channel switching version. And so all that stuff is available online. We were shut down during the pandemic, reopened up in August, and we're cranking. And we'll see. When by the time live music starts to come back, maybe we'll have some heavy duty stuff.
What about the Ultra? What about my amp? The Ultra. Stevie told me yesterday. I don't want to start something. I don't want to talk shit about something that's not happening. But the Ultra Lead might be reissued.
2021. When we come back, man, we're gonna do it.
Oh man, it's too long. That's awesome. I'll need 4 of them. Thanks. Okay.
Only 4? 2 for the US and 2 for Europe.
Exactly.
So look, it's Paige. It's awesome working with you, and it's just a pleasure to do this stuff and to make this stuff and to have the gear still go out there and still being used. And, people the Freya Ultra Lead has been like, it's like a thing of legend now, and Paige is a big part of creating that legend. And
I've abused those amps. So I mean, I've been taking them on the road now for since 1996, 97, something like that, and abused them. Like Steve, I brought the amp into him once. We were in New Orleans. New Orleans is one of my magic cities, so I start drinking at noon, and by the time I'm at the gig, I'm just in another world. And I was drinking Red Bull to kind of get me going. I spilled Red Bull Budweiser inside the amp. You know, Steve's like, "That's not good for electric gear, you idiot." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, sorry," but you got it fixed up and running, and they're just indestructible, man. I mean, they're just it's been such a great thing for me, so I appreciate it.
cool.
Hey, Zum, I love you, bro. And
all right.
I will. I'm going to see you tomorrow, right? I'm going to.
Yeah.
I'll see you tomorrow morning out in Long Island.
All right, great.
All right, I'll talk to you soon, man.
See you, Neil. Good to see you, Neil. Take care.
See you.
All right, that was cool.
Yeah, man, awesome. What a great dude.
Yeah, that was really great. It's we don't get them on. We get them on here and there, but that was really good. And we have a good contingent of the show that just loves gear talk. So
that's cool.
There you go. Hey, stick with me a second. Let me do a last shout out of the sponsors, and then we'll come back and we'll take some questions. All right?
Sounds good.
Here you go. It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, and we're having a good time. I hope you are also. We are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records, and Skateboards. Your Core Hardcore page. Want to also shout out our friends at Pitchfork. Want to shout out Rat Bones. He'll be on the next show on Wednesday. Of course, the Hardcore Shutterbug, Steven Messina, DJ Sid the Kid. That said, want to make sure everybody out there knows that we got the gear. We got the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live gear. I just put the link in the chat room. Don't be shy. Let me show you what we got. Just if you don't know, we got the New York Hardcore. We got the New York Hardcore shower curtain. We got the phone case. We got the girls' leggings. We got the doggy hoodie. We got the socks. We got the mug, thug. Holidays are coming up. Buy something for your loved one. Support the show. Don't be shy. There you go. Also, the Patreon page. Support the show via Patreon. That's what enables this show to happen. It is the community within the community. We do special Patreon shows. I put up footage that's never before been seen. As we've talked about many times, I'm done putting my stuff up on the internet and having it passed around like a cheap Tijuana hooker. So mixing it up. For those that can't handle Patreon, there is a PayPal page. So there you go on PayPal. Go check it out. I want to announce also, I did not get a chance to announce the show on Wednesday, October 28th. Mr. Toby Morse from H2O is going to be on the show. So all you straight edge cats, we got little Toby Morse. We'll talk some straight edge stuff. Be a Patreon, not a Hatreon. Good one. There you go. You just ordered a shower curtain for your big Denmark ass? Really? I saw pictures of you in the gym, Steen. Doing it, huh? Magic the Gathering. Good one. Yeah. Toby, yeah, we got Toby coming on. Edge Day 2020 was yesterday. For all you straight edge motherfuckers. All right? Actually, I'm straight edge. So, but I don't really get into that. The New York Hardcore butt plug on the way. Girls' leggings are nice. Lori Dawn, what's up? How are you doing? Yeah, I got to start putting up some pictures of everybody that the rat mug. That's a good one. The New York Hardcore Kangol. You know what? That's a good idea. Might have to rock the New York Hardcore Kangol. We used to rock the Kangols like this back in the day, And I just can't do it anymore. It just doesn't feel right. Maybe when you hit a certain age, it just doesn't seem right, like to do that kind of Samuel Jackson Kangol thing, you know? This sort of makes more sense to me at this point at my age, you know? So there you go. What else? In the 90s, everyone wore them like that. I know. When I went to public school here in New York, in the Bronx, people wore them like this. What's up? I don't know if this is coming back, but we're like that. You know? That's young shit. Yeah. Looks silly. There's nothing sillier than older guys dressing, like trying to act young with their gear and like wearing, you know, 50 guys in their 50s wearing like skateboard gear to me, you know. Yeah. Bruce Willis used to rock the backward Kangol. Yeah. Yes, we all used to buy our Kangles on 8th Street. This is true. That said, enough of me talking about me. Let's bring our guests back on. We got a couple more minutes. Let's get some questions for Paige Hamilton of Helmet. Please, gear, whatever questions you have. Please post up some questions, and let's see what we got. Let's see what we have. Let me get all these other banners off. There you go. Questions. Okay, here we go. Paige. Here we go. Hey, buddy. All right, Paige. How about here's a question. First question. All right, this is pretty easy. What inspired the covering of Army of Me by Bjork?
That was music for Mother Ocean, right? The oil spill thing, the Benefit album. I just love Bjork. I don't know, that album Post was just an incredibly cool album, and it just seemed like a Helmet bass line, you know. And yeah, it was a blast. We did that on this last tour. It's a little tricky. Her singing style, her phrasing is brilliant. You know, she has this flow. There are a couple of songs people have covered. My best pal and I, Anthony, we did a Thin Lizzy cover of She Knows, and trying to sing like
cool.
Phil is like his vocal style, and Bjork, that sort of free flowing, you know, just crossing the bar line is it's incredible. It's a great lesson for songwriters.
Cool. Here, I like this one from our friend Jason Cheeseborough. What was the inspiration for Driving Nowhere from Aftertaste, my favorite song on that record?
The verse riff was a happy accident at soundcheck at the Trocadero in Philly. I got this rhythm in my head, and I was playing that open string thing, open G, and the A on the 10th fret on the second string, and that kind of B chord, you know, B7-ish, sharp 5 when it started to be a dork. But lyrically, I've always been sort of the American complacency. I don't want to get political here, but some subject matter for me for years has been about this sort of Americans sitting back in their lounge chair and observing things that they don't think affect them worldwide, and having no regard for the fact that we're driving cars taking oil from, you know, countries where people are dying for it, and I just we're so isolated in this country, and it's it's just frustrating that we can't have a little bit more of a global sort of compassion and awareness and as Americans. And I'm American and I pay taxes and I was born and raised here, so I have the right to speak out against it. And that song I wrote that song after the Oklahoma City bombing and before 9/11.
Wow.
Before 9/11. So it's I love that song too. Thanks.
This is what is your favorite hip hop album?
Oh boy, Paid in Full probably.
Yeah, there you go.
What a voice! Like, what do you do? Like, I mean, can't beat that. And I actually, he guested on a Linkin Park album that I guested on, which was pretty interesting. I sang and played on a song, and he did Rakim too.
Hey, I've put this photo up on the show before. but this is a shot that's worth. I got to put it up again, just because these are, I was the second AD on the Eric B. and Rakim Follow the Leader and Microphone Theme videos. So
what? Seriously?
yeah, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
Follow the Leader's another ridiculous song.
Yeah.
Oh,
so there I am. This was on the set of
wow.
of Follow the Leader.
Oh,
And yeah.
oh man, and he's rocking the Niners gear. I'll be watching my Niners later today.
Yeah, he's rocking the Niners gear, and Eric's rocking the Milwaukee Brewers gear. Which at the time was like very, very, nobody was rocking Milwaukee Brewers gear.
No way.
Yeah.
No. I actually went to when they were in the American League at the time, and I went to a game.
Yeah.
And I had to be the '80s at Yankee Stadium, and nobody was. It was a rain out makeup game on Wednesday or whatever in the Bronx, and I could walk from my place on 141st. I could walk to the stadium, and it was like nothing to pay, to get into the game, and you could smoke cigars and drink beers and go walk behind home plate. There were probably 3,000 people at the game, but the Brew Crew.
Here's a question from our friend, good friend Mike DeJean from Astoria, Queens. Mike from Crown of Thorns and
cool.
Couple of bands here in New York. What was the vibe like you at Gray Area Studio in Soho in the 90s? I used to hear you guys rehearsing through the walls there and think of dark dinginess of that place when I listened to Meantime.
Man, I remember the name. I think that's where we met the Prong guys again, like after auditioning, and then years later, I think Prong was rehearsing at the same time as us. Mike Kirkland was still in the band, but I honestly, we've had so many rehearsal spaces, and I remember the ones that we rented on a month-to-month basis with Sonic Youth, for example, that one, or the Music Building with.
Well, the Music Building is just infamous.
Yeah, that's where I got the idea for the song Blacktop, because you're getting off the subway in Hell's Kitchen there, and they're like Blacktop, and I'm like, what is that? Is that crack or something? What is that? And we rehearsed with T.M. Stevens was in that room as well, as was Tony Thunder Smith, so some legendary musicians that we shared the space with. So it was. Gray Area, I kind of vaguely. That was a short period of time, I believe. I think we were rehearsing for an album there or a tour. I don't remember.
I wonder if that place is still there. I haven't heard that name.
Worcester, Worcester. He said.
I haven't heard that.
Me either. There's so many places. I can't remember even the place that we auditioned Henry Bogdan in. Because that was somewhere like Union Square area, just north. I can't remember. There was, all these places are gone because of economically they can't keep up. It's
they're all gone, bro.
RPM Studio is no more. That was they had an amazing Neve. I want to say it was a 10. I think it was a 1078, 1073s. I forget the Neves they had, and it was an incredible studio.
That one building on 30th Street. That had like ultrasound and all those places. Ultrasound was the last one to hang on. They're all gone, man.
Yeah. Oh. One of my favorite places was on Avenue A between because I lived on First Avenue, 2nd Street.
Casa?
It was upstairs on the very top. You could go to the very top floor and you could look out over the East Village. It was so cool. And I thought
on the one on Rivington Street.
Rock stars.
On Rivington Street?
No, on Avenue A. Avenue A. Oh, sorry, did I say B? Avenue A. You know where 2A is? My home away from home. I had a plaque on a bar stool there. But right across the street and upstairs there was like we call it spend your paycheck swipe, that SYP where you could go buy food and
right.
There was a gym there. I think they gym or something.
Context Studio? Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds right. Context, that sounds right. Yeah. That place.
DeJean, good going, DeJean.
Yeah, wow. Thank you.
Avenue A.
Avenue A, yeah, between 2nd and 3rd Street.
By the way, I'm sorry, I spaced. Mike DeJean, Crown of Thorns, King's Bounty, Outburst. There you go.
Cool.
Here's another one. I like this question because I did have it in my homework. Where did I see that? hold on. Where did I see? Oh, here we go. How did Frank Bello briefly playing with Helmet come about? I know that you guys you took a break for a couple of years, and when you came back, Frankie was playing with you, and so was Johnny, right?
Yeah, we I through a mutual friend named Renee Mata when I was.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I moved to Los Angeles after my divorce, and the band broke up in September 11th, and I was just in kind of a bad place, and I had to get out of the city, and so I came out here, and I didn't really know anybody, but Renee said I had played on their demo, and he said, "Hey, you have to meet this guy." John Tempesta, and I was like, "Who is that?" He's like, "We played with Zombie and Testament and stuff," and I'm like, "Okay, cool." So we had beers, we ended up jamming together, and a phenomenal drummer and great dude from the Bronx, and we did the album. Chris Traynor who's from Queens, he ended up playing bass because Rob Nicholson was in the band for a minute, but then he got the Ozzy gig, and I didn't want to share any of my bandmates with Ozzy because it would have been, we have a tour coming up, and he's like, "No, I got Ozzy," and who do you think they're going to go with? Ozzy probably pays him 10 times what I can, but well, our friend of ours, mutual friend of ours from the Bronx, grew up with those guys, and he said, "Hey man, Frank Bello wants to get out of Anthrax," and so I met him, and we just hit it off, and so I had these two Bronx guineas in my band for it was hilarious, man. And then we had Chris from Queens, but it was there was the sort of New York personality thing. It was pretty intense for me because I'm just like, we do the work, you rehearse, you learn the songs, you play the show, and then you can chill and do whatever. But it got kind of hard. I think they were you guys might have been kind of used to a sort of a higher standard of living. We're not staying at 4-star hotels in Helmet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're like, we're not crashing on floors anymore. We have hotels, but we're not staying at the Ritz or whatever. So it's
that makes
good
sense.
dudes, though. All good dudes. I love them all.
Here's a good one from our friend Unregistered Hypercam. Whatever happened to those amazing Gandhi demos?
We were talking about David Torn earlier. David Torn, it produced those with me, and Matt Flynn, the drummer from Gandhi, who named the band, is a multimillionaire and playing in Maroon 5, which is a huge pop band. You guys probably know from The Voice or Adam Levine, whatever. I haven't talked to Christian for years. Anthony Truglio, who's my best friend, he has an amazing band called Liege Lord that I'm actually co-producing. They're finally making a new record. They were a band that influenced a lot of I can call it power metal or something like that. They're around the time of the Anthrax and Overkill and Metallica and all that stuff. But they ended up splitting up, but they got back together a while ago. So he was in the band. John Andrews plays with Nena, 99 Luftballons.
Sure.
Matt, myself, Anthony. Okay, Christian. Yeah, I lost touch with Christian. But those demos we did up at Applehead in Woodstock.
Wow, I haven't heard that in a minute. Applehead. Yeah,
great studio, man.
Yeah.
Torn was such a genius. In fact, there was a channel on the board was intermittent. It needed to be replaced, repaired, whatever. And Torn's like, "Let's put a room mic on that channel," and he did. And there's this cool breakdown in a song called "Everybody Loves You." So Matt did this groove, this cool groove, and we just clicked over to that broken room, broken channel with the room mic, and it was genius. I mean, Torn is otherworldly, genius. But the songs are around somewhere. I'm really bad with that. I've been trying to pull together stuff recently because we're releasing the live show from CB's from 1990. We're releasing a show from Australia from that same the first lineup. And these cover songs, so I'd have to dig for that stuff. So
here's one from Ryan. What songs did you play on with 9 Inch Nails on The Fragile? You're in the credits, but I don't know what songs you're on.
That makes two of us. I gotta tell you, when I do stuff, I don't I have not probably seen. I saw Heat. I've seen Heat before, but a lot of the movies I work on, I never see, and I don't know where you're seeing a scene in a movie. And so with Trent, I went in. He was so gracious and great. I was going through a difficult time in divorce and stuff. And he said, "Hey, man, you can stay here as long as you want." He had an apartment in New Orleans, funeral home that he built into a studio. They built me my own little room where and taught me how to use the Logic Audio. They said, like Gobos in their live room. Here's a computer page. Here's how you do this shit. And they were just so amazing and kind of changed my work habits. And we would just jam in the control room, he and I. He was looking, I remember, what are you doing? He's like, got this Kurzweil thing. He's doing stuff. He's looking at me. He's like, what's in your right hand? I'm like, just a guitar pick. He's like, how are you getting that sound? I think we were kind of, fascinated by the way the other guy worked. And I just learned a lot. But as far as the album, I listened to it and I can't remember, honestly. I don't remember.
Yeah, that makes sense. That stuff is also so incredibly layered.
And it's like double album. It's huge. It's long.
Yeah,
it's a long record. And we had toured with them on their Downward Spiral, and it was right after our Rollins Helmet Betty tour. We had a blast. They treated us great, and it was really cool, really fun time in my life.
It's interesting. Mean Mug Music 607. One of my first bug hugs ever was opening for Page and Helmet. Had to be 92 and 93. Love the show, Drew. I will be joining your Patreon as soon as possible, Drew. Live from Binghamton, New York, upstate 607. Yeah, upstate New York, man,
Yeah.
Woo!
Nice. That's cool.
Well, here we go. This is a standard question on the show. Are you a fan of Morrissey or the Smiths?
That's so funny. My drummer for the whole tour in Europe and England, and we played Manchester where those guys are from and stuff, wore a Morrissey Sucks t-shirt. And my manager is English, David Whitehead. He loves Oasis and Blur and all that stuff. And it's like, honestly, I'm not all that familiar with it. I think he's clever. I've read some lyrics and stuff, and I don't want to talk out my ass and say I'm a fan or not a fan. I went on my jazz tangent. It's lasted my entire life, and that's still sort of that and the orchestral thing. I've been lucky to play with a couple of orchestras, and I'm writing a piece for a high school in Memphis, the oldest Christian Brothers, oldest high school band in America, for their 150th anniversary. So I don't spend a lot of time in pop, listening to pop music, and it's probably a weakness in my background.
Speaking of which, did you watch the Ken Burns jazz documentary?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's so great. I have so many great stories, like going to. I had a friend of mine, Barb Krieg. She was in my grad school, and I was, as I said earlier, completely broke. And she's like, "You're coming to the Village Vanguard with me to see Ron Carter, Herbie Hancock, and Tony Williams." And so she paid for my ticket. And then I went to see Elvin Jones, who would play every Thanksgiving, and he was Coltrane's drummer. And I stood on the side of the little stage there at the Vanguard. And I don't know if I was crying or in awe or whatever when they turned the lights on, but Elvin came up to me and put his arms around me and hugged me. And I love jazz. I love that music. And those guys, they paved the way. We go back to hardcore music and punk rock and, downtown scene and stuff. But you go back to New York. The reason I moved to New York was that scene that was happening in the 40s. People like Billie Holiday and Train and Miles and Monk and everything. And it was just incredible. And and the stories, the heartbreaking stories you read too, what we're going through in our country still to this day. Miles he's clubbed over the head in front of his own gig while he's smoking a cigarette, for being black, and just the stuff. It's that jazz. The documentary is amazing, and there's some great documentaries. The Chasing the Train, I Called Him Morgan, the Lee Morgan documentary. If you guys,
I have not seen that.
There's a club called Slugs that was in East Village on 3rd Street back then. By that post office that used to be on 3rd Street, and that's where his wife shot him and killed him. It's just an amazing documentary, and the Miles documentary is fantastic. There are a lot of great documentaries.
I saw the Miles one. It's a little harsh, that was Miles, right?
Yeah, Miles. musical hero, but I mean, anybody that hits their wife, you got it's. I mean,
Yeah.
she was a beautiful woman, and just you don't know what possesses someone. They're doing that much blow and that kind of vibe. It's a tough one. It's a tough one to.
I mean, I watch. I'm a documentary filmmaker. I watch everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's just part of sort of. You know, there's always.
What do you think of Ava DuVernay? Did you see 13th?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, fantastic. Nope. She's a great filmmaker. You should watch that. She also did When They See Us was the series on the Central Park Jogger kids. That's so powerful. I mean, you're gonna, you know, it's hard.
I gotta send you. I'll send you the trailer for my new film.
Cool.
Hey, thoughts on Wes Montgomery?
Good, absolute genius. I still can't do. No one can do what he did on the guitar. You can learn the notes. You can figure it out. I've transcribed "So Do It," is the song and the solo, the octave things. But to do what he did, it's just other level genius. I don't know how somebody like that, you know, walks the face of the earth. We're lucky to to have his music.
Absolutely. Hey, heading down the home stretch. Let me. I want to thank you for coming on the show. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely, man. So cool.
Yeah. Let me bring on Steven. Hey, Steve. How you doing?
So,
hey, you got anything for Paige?
I have a couple of things. One, funny enough, I was just in Athens, Greece with Liege Lord last March.
No way.
They did the Up the Hammers Festival.
Yep.
And I was there with a band called Hitman. And
cool. Both
bands go way back to the old Long Island metal scene and everything.
Yeah.
I had a blast with those guys.
Yeah, this album is going to be amazing. I can't wait.
We went absolutely sick for Liege Lord.
Yeah, they're amazing, right?
It was nuts. It was such a great time.
This lineup now is the best that they've ever had, and it's going to be. I keep pushing them, and we're kind of going slow on lyrics, and there's some things going on, whatever. But I push. I say whatever I can do to facilitate things, and I'm not asking them for money or anything. I don't care. I want to make this record, and I'm also producing a band from Australia called Bison and a New York band called Fork right now, kind of remotely, as we're trying to juggle and make ends meet here. But the Lee Shore thing is a labor of love, and that's just, I think people their minds are going to be blown. You know, if you like metal, it's other levels stuff. There's no posing. You know, it's like, this is the music. You know, they're players, and they have soul, and they can write. It's really cool, man.
Awesome. And my last thing is, any good Henry stories from that tour with Rollins?
Many Henry stories. Yeah, I saw him at the Dinosaur Jr. show. I happened to be in the city at the Bowery Ballroom, and we got into one of those, like they did like 85 nights or whatever. And I ran into Henry. Hadn't seen him for years, and he wanted to. He said, bring your Malumbo jazz thing on my show, whatever. But it was funny. I think, when Helmet blew up, there was that kind of thing that went on. People were reading about me, and I'm talking about John Coltrane. I'm talking about, music. Because I don't make shit up. When people ask me what I'm listening to, what I'm doing, I just tell them. I don't have sort of built-in. I don't have the cool kids filter or whatever. Like, no, well, yeah, I'm doing. I just tell it. And I think he wasn't aware at first that I'm a serious jazz nerd. Like I transcribe the music. I play this music every day of my life. And he sat down with me at catering one day, because I was already friends with Sim and Haskett. And we were sitting down in catering one day on the tour, and we started talking about Clifford Brown. And I wrote a paper in my master's degree on Clifford Brown, and transcribed Joy Spring. And he hadn't heard of Clifford Brown. So I think at that point he was like, oh man, this guy's, legit. And we became friends, and tour was a blast, man. I think it was a great musical marriage. And I told him, I said, you know what, you're part of the reason I do what I do, because when I was in Band of Susans, we opened for Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds and Rollins band, and I heard Henry, and I was just like, at the Ritz, the old Ritz, and I remember sitting there just going like, what the fuck, like this guy, and he just goes for it. And I said to him, I said, look, you're not fucking Pavarotti, whatever. You're not a great singer, but you're a frontman and a vocalist that communicates, and that's. Yeah. That's got me into singing in the studio, and got me. He said, you put all your heart and soul into something and guts. There's no holding back. If you're going to do a hardcore vocal, it's not like, yeah, I have some distortion, on the mic pre or the mix, whatever. It has to come from here. You know what I mean? And that's what I got from Henry. And yeah, he's great, man. It
was a big influence on me.
Huge,
as a teenager, the band he was in, SOA, before he joined Black Flag, and of course, early Black Flag. Anything else, Steven?
No, I'm good.
Well, thanks, bro. And
it's just amazing. Great having you.
Thanks so much, you guys. I'll pimp a couple things I'm doing. I scored a movie called Painted Beauty.
Yeah.
That's
hey, Steven, I'll see you in a bit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're on.
Sorry, I pimp a few things with Painted Beauty that I scored. That's going to be really cool score. It's coming out, and I'm working with this Progress Humanity. We're going to do a thing. My friend, a dear friend Tracy Wiedemann, great tour manager extraordinaire. We're gonna, it's just kind of raising awareness about conflicts around the world. And I live in Glendale, California, which is a big Armenian neighborhood. As we know, there's a lot of stuff going on there. And teaching kids at School of Rock and doing private lessons. And I just wanted to kind of put that out there. Also, my friend Thomas Lang is. We're gonna do a helmet play along where I have all these helmet tracks, and so you can get in and you can play helmet songs. Like if you're a bass player, the bass is muted, whatever. I'm really excited about these projects.
Cool.
So during COVID, since touring has been taken away from us and movies now, this movie was already shot when he did it, but trying to kind of come up with other things to do. So it's cool.
Fantastic.
I really appreciate having me on, man. It's so. I miss, I was thinking, is this going to be reminiscing, the old days in the East Village and going to see, Gigi at that outdoor place where that wrecked car was. Reminded me, remember that place?
The gas station?
Gas station, and it's, and you can miss it, but you move forward with your life, and it had a, New York was such an important part of my musical is my music background and shaping what I do, and I do miss that, and I go back and it just feel like you say a lot of our stuff is torn down and it's weird. I don't want to be the old grump though, like
but also listen, the past is dead. Long live the past.
Yeah.
And we're doing things in the present, and we're looking forward to the future, and that's really what the show's about.
Yeah, and I like it, increasing awareness and turning kids on. When I watched your show, when you guys asked me to come, I watched some shows, and I've already discovered some cool new music. This band in LA I didn't know about called Torso. You had one of the guys on saying, I'm like, wow, there's some great music, great new music going on now that you wouldn't be aware of if you weren't doing your, we wouldn't be aware of without your show. And it's thank you, man. It's really cool.
Yeah, and our friend John says you have some big fans here, Paige.
Oh man, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Cool.
Thanks for coming on the show. I'm going to send you my trailer.
Thanks.
Take care of yourself out there, and we'll talk soon. You're welcome back here anytime, man.
I appreciate it. Stay safe too. Okay.
I will. Take care.
All right. See you. Bye, dude.
Wow. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Your Core Hardcore Fan Page, Chain Reaction Records, and Skateboards. Our guest today was Paige Hamilton from Helmet. It was a great show. I enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed it as well. What else? What was, real quick before I get out, what was... Somebody asked about something, and I was curious what this is. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. What the hell was it? Shit. I should do some sort of... I don't see what it is. Fuck. Let me look again. Blah, 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 blah. Thank you, Drew. I love you, brother. I love you too, bro. Yeah, I don't see it. Somebody said I should do... I don't know what it was. Not Cameo. It was something else. I'm not sure what. I'll probably see it afterwards. Anyway, hope everybody's well. That was a great show. Coming up next is Jessica Pimentel. So that should be really great. Yeah, they're all great shows. Hey, they all achieve different levels of greatness. Now that's bothering me. Where the hell is that thing? Hold on. One of the best episodes, Drew. Well, thank you. Where is it? Good one. Thank you. What is... Let me see if I can find this thing. Hold on. Stick with me. Big fans in Serbia. Oh, right on. Where is it? Stick with me. Stick with me. Yeah. Wow, I just can't find it. I guess things really moved. Jazz gives me anxiety. That's a good one. Jazz gives me anxiety. Yeah, there you go. Oh, here it is. What is this? Drew, you should set up super chats. Money. What is super chats? I don't know what that is. Anybody out there know what super chats is? Let me know if you know. If you know, we'll know. That said, yeah. What the fuck is super chats? I'm curious. Inquiring minds want to know. Shout out to Your Core fan page. Hope you all follow on Instagram. Absolutely. They are a sponsor. Follow them. I'm ordering you to follow them. Follow me. So there you go. Okay. Super Chat will replace fan funding, the site's previous tool for viewers to pay creators. Okay. People can donate and write. Oh, is that the thing that when it's live on YouTube, right in real time, you can pay like $5 and put up a is that what I saw? I see. Live donations, but I think that, yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, Super Chat, I've seen it, right. Okay. Well, I said it before and I'll say it again. If you're watching this show in a rerun, please, there's a button right there. Subscribe to the Stone Films NYC YouTube page, please. I need to connect a couple things to it and my merch and stuff like that. So there you go. Listen, if you're thinking about throwing your hat in the ring, there is the Patreon page. Don't be shy. Let it fly. That said, that was a hell of a show. I want to thank you all for being a part of this incredible thing that we have. So I will see you very soon. Have a good rest of the Sunday. Do good things, and good things will come to you. You know what? Whoa. Hold your horses. I want to play my new outro, all right? The new outro. All right? Here we go. Let me get rid of all the bullshit. All right? All the banners. Here is my new intro and the new outro. Boom. So do good things, and good things will come.